I mean, yes, but it's still awkward to say. Oh my god! We were talking about troll plays, chat. How much more troll does this get? How much more troll can you get than this? Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's time for some more Phobies. We're going to be jumping in tonight, playing some games, reviewing some games, and hopefully having a lot of fun. So let's get to it. Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future. So look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random's Thoughts. So now, on with the show. What's going on, chat? Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody already hanging out in chat. Shout out to those, everybody who was early. A little hydrate action to start the night. Yep, I had to have my pre-start sip because otherwise my throat is always very dry when I start the stream. And I'm waiting for one of these times where I don't quite, finish and I end up spitting the water out, all over my mic or something. But for those of you who are not aware, we have Fright Night number 2 already underway. The first round pairings are up if you're listening to this and you're in Fright Night. Definitely get those games in as quick as we can because that way we can get on to Fright Night number 3. I know I'm looking ahead a little bit, but we're growing, which is really cool. I wasn't sure where we were going to end up compared to first Fright Night, but we did get a few extra people, so I'm pretty pleased, to be honest. I'm very happy about that, and I'm glad that more people are enjoying Fright Night. So, we're jumping in on what was one of my least favorite maps in a previous rotation. I just really didn't like this map. We're going to start with the Stabby Opener, mostly because I'm not really sure what I want to do on this map yet. Basically, my game plan is Stabby Opener into Spread. We try and claim all of these points. What ended up happening in the past... Do you love this map, Izumi? I know a lot of people did, but this was very much a thorn in my side when it was last in the rotation. I was going to say a lot of games that I lost, but that's not true. There were some games I lost where basically my opponent pushed me back into the choke point between the heart and this obstacle, back towards the vault, and then that prevented me from doing anything of value. So our opponent banked to 5, which is kind of scary. I'm a little concerned about this. We'll get the Stabby into position. We get Stabby into position. Now the question is, maybe we go 2-1 here. The reason we go 2-1 is because I think we need the cassowary in order to represent some additional damage. Yeah, I think we do this. And we put it here because then it can leap on any of these. We're going to lock down these 2 points, the center and the top, most likely. We'll see how this goes. Hey, Alpaca, what's good? I'll probably be submitting a funny match where my opponent banked to 7. I went straight to the heart and won. Nice, crazy. I love those. You gotta love those aggro games where we always joke about the day 9 thing from when he was doing dailies in early StarCraft 2. Probably I don't know when he actually coined this quote, but probably 2010 or 11 or something like that. And what do I do if my opponent has this? And I'm gonna make it Phobies. What do I do if my opponent has this Hevo 3.0 Sparky Crushmore Cyclops plus Stabby comp? How am I supposed to get to? Well, you just go kill them. You just get there, you get on their heart, you pummel their heart, and you just end the game. That's how you win. I'm trying to force Blastomatic on every game. The enemies just play erratic. The thing with Blastomatic and similar late game Phobies like that is you kind of need to just... you have to wait until it's an appropriate position, I guess, is the best way to put it. 454, 8. So they're going to kill this. So we're going to cross these. We could actually go take this with Stabby, but we can't really punish this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We could go here with, say, a jar. And I go here, 1, 2. They can't reach it. They'd only be able to hit it with this. But the combination, that's only going to do 8 and 5, 13. We're probably not killing this. So I don't think that's necessarily worth it. We're getting this online just to have a little bit to supplement our offense. It actually isn't great putting this here. I should have advanced the stabby to this point. I think that covers better ground, because then we could threaten hitting this down on the bottom. I don't know. It's probably fine. Now I'm going to try and combo with Boo Fairy to disable Erratic. That's fair. There's some endgame units that you can force, like Beauty and Alistor, Fire Ant, Boss Bars. Well, some of them are just big stat sticks, right? But yes, the mechanicals, especially slow mechanicals like Blastomatic, end up presenting a unique challenge because they do have a harder counter than, say, the Dimensionals. See, like, we'd be in a much better position if I had had this stabby where this guy is. They probably kill this. Like, they can hit it. It's 366, so they move this back, hit it, and then... Do we want that? I think we'd rather do this. We don't want it quite exposed because they can pick it off relatively cleanly. We'll be -1 key on this exchange. Trading out the Flopsy like this is not great because you'd rather, like... You want to do it when it's going to survive a couple turns. I don't really like throwing it away like this, but... Hey, Ando, what's good? I feel like Dimensionals are a bit OP overall. I could see it. I don't know if I necessarily fully agree, but... I don't have the collection to think combos just aggro. I mean, it's a strategy. That's the thing. If you can't... It's not necessarily about the tactics in the individual combo sometimes. Sometimes you just go, hey, I'm going to win strategically. I'm going all in, and it's your job to stop me, opponent. When you get access to heal poison, it's not really a problem. I agree, Alpaca. We've talked about that a lot. I feel when people have higher level units and you feel like you can't beat them in a fist fight, just pressuring the panic points and going after the best. Exactly, Azumi. You can absolutely outplay people from a greater macro level. Like, that is absolutely a thing you can do. So we gotta find a way to somehow kill this sheep. We can get about 1,400 onto it, but that's not quite enough, obviously. So we're gonna go Murder Wing because it represents a big chunk. So we could advance this, and then fly this in. Like, hypothetically, we can collapse on the sheep with all 4. I highly doubt they're gonna allow us to do that. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, the dimensional weakness to poison almost feels non-existent for the most part. It's less so when Clinico comes online, although Clinico is important because it's cheap, but more so if your collection affords Muffin Top. Because realistically, you know, you go in with a sheep, you're getting one thing, right? Like, you'll hit 1, maybe 2 things. Generally, you don't get a big sheep hit. And then you're just hoping the poison goes off. But the problem is that Muffin invalidates that, and it's like, okay, are you going to play an all-poison team? Like, that's not a thing. So this is problematic because we have 4 Phobies here, so we can't kill this without exposing something. So we're going to offer up Stabby, I think. We'd rather Stabby get gas than basically anything else other than Cassowary. Now, the problem is if they block off Cassowary with the Gravedigger, we could be in trouble. But they're not going to kill this, right? 3, 9. Actually, they might. They could kill Stabby, like, straight up kill it. This is going to be unfortunate. This is a better use of... This is a better use of their Flopsy than what we got, or their Mopsy than what we got out of our Flopsy. Because this locks us in like this. Yes, we banked, but we have to have something die in order to answer whatever comes out of their vault now. It's extra annoying to play Blastomatic because literally everyone has Erratic and he's so good. Yeah, I can definitely see that. That's why it's important to bait those sort of things or play it on a turn where your opponent has to wait for the Erratic to come out. Because getting Blastomatic and an Erratic answer can be very challenging with your key count. And certain maps will favor it more than others, like valuable ways to do it sort of thing, right? Alright, so we might be able to just collapse on the sheep and kill it, and I'm not worried about the damage for a couple turns, right? Kind of tired of talking the same thing over and over again. I mean, it's the same sort of stuff, because as people come in onto, like, for them, it's the first time that they're encountering whatever the particular scenario is, you know what I mean? Oof. Big oof, chat. If we do this, hopefully we have enough time and we don't... Yeah, so we can meatball. This keeps the Jin Sting more safe. We're going to end up losing some stuff in this process, but, I mean... There's not a whole hell of a lot that we can do about that. We'll move this up, I guess. Like, we're going to lose these two relatively easily, but we maintain these two. So we'll be negative keys, but not super negative, and then possibly we can punish them on the counter. Exactly. Every time I think playing a sheep, I think twice, because they can just pop a heal and its value is basically nullified. Exactly, Alpaca. I agree. I'm in Doomsday, and I find my opponents are 2 to 3 levels higher in Phobies, yet I'm able to outplay them and get a good win rate. It's definitely something that's possible. It clearly makes it more challenging, but of course you can out-strategy people, right? Been stuck in Doomsday 3 for so long. Oh, no. Hey, welcome. Welcome. Shout out to all our new and newer people in chat. I like Jar in this situation when you just cheap enemies away safely. Yeah, you can definitely chip them down in this. Hi, baby. Puppy came down to hang out. You sleepy? They've been real tired all day, and I don't know why. Like, we didn't do anything today, really. Comparatively. Our opponent only has 4 keys remaining. I didn't realize that. We can't dive their Jar, and since we lost our Murder Wing, obviously that's not great. So we kill this, we take this point, we stand on this. We'll advance this. Meatball is up. This is actually a really high level Jar. It's a level 9 Jar. So this is 5. 6, 7, 8. 5. They shouldn't be able to get this. It's not impossible, but it's really unlikely. Maybe we don't do that, then. We're investing a lot of keys in this, but I have a hard time believing that they can fight the Pterodactyl, we'll see. Strange talking about Phobies. Literally all my games in the asyncs, I'm the underdog level-wise. Beat a guy level 50 when I... Wow, that's pretty good, Alpaca. I mean, there's a few people, we've all run into them or encountered them a couple times where they are, like, super high level, but it's clearly they just kind of bought into it, which, you know, it's important for those people to be in the game because they're keeping the game afloat. But, it does, you know, there's more to Phobies than just the levels. That being said, I've brought it up on many occasions. Levels matter. Like, they are very relevant. It's strange because I use strange strategies. Fair. Fair. So we can't really dive their Jar, by the way. even if they allowed us to, is A, we don't have the damage. B, even if we did, it would be problematic because they could pop something out. It looks like they decided that very last second. I think we do like this. We unfortunately can't reach this. If we had put this over here last turn, which would have been intelligent play. Spoiler alert, we didn't make the intelligent play. We could have gotten it. We're going to save bees. I don't know if we absolutely need to. They could snowball and, like, make us real sad about this, but I don't think it can be, like, super duper sad. If that's... This AWOL is going to be weird because we can't really go after anything with it because of the jar right now. Like, the jar can just poke it, jar and bees will kill it. Rather use terror, I would use that hand-like card. Oh, you mean, Scritch? I'm not a huge fan of Scritch. Granted, mine's only level 5, so, like, typically the damage buff isn't all that relevant for me. But, I mean, I can respect Scritch. In general, I mean. So you're gonna bees and retreat? Because if you hit this, you're dead. Yeah. This will go up to like 600 from this heal, so we can't actually kill it. Because we're not in a position to. Again, we could have been, if 2 turns ago we had moved the Jin Sting to this spot that's north of Jin Sting and west of Stabby. Because then it wouldn't have had to move to kill the Murder Wing, and then we wouldn't have had to do anything else. Like, we could have moved over here last turn, but, you know, if wishes were fishes kind of thing. So do we pull back? We probably can. So, like, they have to commit to us. It would be nice if we could get the jar, but we can't, because we can't actually target it with the pterodactyl. So the only thing they could hit the Jin Sting or the pterodactyl with a juiced jar, but if they do that, it won't die and we'll be able to counter kill it. Or we should be able to. I just started about 50 games in low rank, so I keep ranking up with having to play players in my rank. That's kind of where I'm at, Alpaca, because I mentioned it before, I don't play async really. So I kicked off a bunch just in order to complete, you know, like weekly stuff. And as a result, I'm ranking up relatively quickly, as you'd imagine. Just got wrecked in Arena by Scritch and Erratic combo. Granted, I'm kind of throwing games trying to find new strategy. Ouch. I mean, that can be very dangerous. It is absolutely dangerous. This is 1500. We can only do like 9 at most. I think we just keep backing off because, like, we don't have to be anywhere. And if they want to, if they step on any of these points, we should be able to kill whatever it is. If they try and kill Stabby, they're not going to die. But that means this would be down. And we could obviously dive the jar from there. I think. We probably should run Stabby to a safer position. And honestly, the AWOL is probably a mistake. What we probably should have done with AWOL was go Contortio. Just because it could tank Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Because it probably... If this was juiced, yeah, if this gets juiced, it's dead anyway. So they might take the stabby kill here, but it looks like they don't want to. Maybe? Yeah, Pterodactyl's really strong. Pterodactyl's really strong. I'm trying to follow what chat was talking about. The first time I see Boss Card in action, I thought he was the third version of Rambolina and Mr. Tramples. His boss had big horns, too. Yeah, there is a pretty big similarity. I wonder if that implies that Mr. Tramples and Rambolina are demons, because I get a demon vibe from Boss, right? Like, it's gotta be... It's not literally a demon. Like, that's not a type in Phobies, but it's a demon, right? We gotta do this quickly because I want to make sure we get stuff actually done. Oh, that didn't kill it. Jesus. That's so bad. Okay, well that's not the turn we want. So that's 10, 14, that. This might not be right. I kind of feel like we're throwing, honestly. I'm not sure. This ginseng refuses to die. They've done a very good job of preserving it. They've done a great job preserving it. A little hydrate action. Now, in their defense, they're probably saying the same thing about, like, my pterodactyl, but, you know. One's a 4-key, one's a 7-key. Did a paddles and sheep combo for... That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Like, parking Blastomatic 3 turns besides Gravedigger, waiting for him to breach a wall and blast everyone. That's pretty good. I mean, you can shoot through it. Like, you can target your own, statues. Like, that's a good play. Alright, so they're going for this. They're gonna take another 700. This blocks off... Like, they might have done this because they figured that I could just get them. Which I kind of can. By get them, I mean go for the heart. We want to do this to heal maximum. So this is 1100. This will do 1000. They could buff, do that, then they can't walk. Like, we should be able to just pass turn twice, honestly. Like, even if they get the pterodactyl, I think we just pass turn twice. DT said we can't use line attack on the statue? Really? Ah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I could have sworn you did. No, it will go... I'm pretty sure it'll go through walls. I think you just can't target it is the problem. Assuming I'm interpreting chat correctly. You go for heart now, I wonder what would be the ideal health when we decide to just go phase. It's going to depend on the scenario, which is a cop-out answer of like, well, it just depends on what's this or that. But realistically, it depends. Here, we could have gone heart probably a couple turns ago, but we get there anyway. GG. Start out with a win for the night, chat. Start out with a win. But yeah, we absolutely could have gone heart, and that's why our opponent collapsed as they did in order to lock off that pterodactyl. Because otherwise, I could have just walked up pterodactyl into range and shot it, and the game would have ended much quicker. But we ended up getting there anyway. So the stabby opener seems to work on that map, which is something that we've talked about it before, not to beat the dead horse, but stabby probably could stand for a slight nerf. And ooh, we got some Miss Moffat levels. We got some Miss Moffat levels. I like that. I like that. Stabby could stand for a nerf, and I'm just not a fan of that map. it just feels, a lot of the small maps right now kind of feel like they are devolving into this very aggressive, spammy setup, which there are ways to counter it. I've lost with it. I've beaten people who are doing it to me. We're talking going first. Even going second, you can try and set that up, but it can be more challenging. I don't know. It kind of feels like that's becoming the meta right now, which realistically any of these games are going to have set strategies, and especially once everybody has their collections. For now, it's a little tough to determine simply because, you know, not everybody has every phobie. So if there's a specific answer to a certain play, guess what? You can't do it. Maybe it's kind of count as cheating, like in a big map, you can just blasting down cheap phobies. Yeah, but that's their problem for standing in front. Oh, did we get a jar level up? Or are you saying you got it? Oh, we did. We don't have the... I'm going to save the XP, because like a jar level up is super important. That's important. When will I open packs? I'm going to open packs at the end of the season. So as of right now, we have another 15 days. I'm trying to bank them so that way I can do like big pack opening videos at whenever I do them. So we roughly were at 1,500 or so tiers last time. I'm hoping we can get to 2K coffee. We'll see. Nice, level 10 jar. Yeah, we're almost there. Almost there. Oh, so is this is, wow. This is a pretty stark level difference here. It's hard not to take packs when you can. The regulars will tell you I hate opening packs. I have no problem. If there were never any packs in any game, I'd be way happier. And it's, I mean, I'd be happier from the predatory economic model of packs. Like, I'd be happy to have that gone. But I also just personally dislike opening packs. I'm not a big person for surprises or anything like that, so I have no problem just going, yeah, I honestly, I forget that it's there 99.9% of the time. Usually the only time I even look at it is when chat brings it up. Blasto feels real good on Phobopolis because of all the really close angles they all bunch together. I can see that. I can see that. That definitely makes sense. Alright, so let me see what the notes are for this game. So the highlight of the game was a huge cluster the end game became, where I was spending half an hour each turn thinking about how not to screw up after the opponent did a really good trade with Sucky. Hey, shout out to my Sucky fans. There's going to be a Sucky highlight in this. Level 50 had a level 13 jar, spoiler alert, that helped me helped to make the end game even harder. Whew. Also, this game featured an unbearable turreting. The center point, but the execution was a bit floppy? I assume that was supposed to be sloppy. So this is one of my first games trying it out. Hope you enjoy. All right, we're going to jump into this one. I'm jealous with lufee. He had 68 phobies, so many options. Yes, but keep in mind that a wide breadth of phobies, you know, a very spread thin collection, depending on your stress level, your rank, that may not be valuable to you. Like a level 1, 2, or 3 phobie, depending on what it is, might literally be unplayable in the league you're in. So yes, it can be a grass is greener scenario where it's like, oh man, they have all those phobies. But if your phobies are taller, you know, like a level... I played against people with level 17 jars. I would trade a good chunk of my phobies to have a level 17 jar. I can tell you that much. But we'll jump into this game. Shout out for submitting the game. If you want to get your own games broken down, it sounds really negative, but if you want me to do a game breakdown, if you want me to review your games, then you can hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. There'll be a link in the video description, or if you're on the live screen, hey, that actually sounds like a Phobies thing. The live stream over on Twitch, RTChompTG, exclamation point Discord will get you the link. Oh, by the way, check out some Fright Night action. It's a good time. But we're going to jump into this particular game featuring a wide level disparity. Let's take a peek. So we're spawning into the floor is lava, which has been a map that is causing a lot of consternation among the community from what I've seen. So we'll see what happens here. We see an opening bow mangles, which I can respect. I like the bow mangles. I like the stabbies on this map. Typically, I go with a much faster opening, aka more one drops, but this turret has potential. Now, the turret's not taking the center spot, so this is a little abnormal from our blue player, but they do follow it up with a cat. Now, if I'm the blue player, I have to pause for a bit to talk about the opener from orange. The Newly Dead is fine. Early in the game like this, it's a little debatable because it's possible it goes down relatively quickly, and then there are still likely little things such as cat floating around the board. Given the opponent open Bowmangles, it's obviously less of a risk. Especially now that this Bowmangles is down here. It's only going to get one shot as opposed to if it was up here and was able to get more shots. But instead, we also have a snowball, and this is why I wanted to pause. So this is a level 6 snowball. It's pretty sizable. And the good boy here is always a threat, and also indicative. When you see something like this, it's a stress level unlock. You can click on it, you know that it's level 6, meaning that they're clearly above the level where they got it, where you first get it, and that means that your opponent is fairly high leveled going into it. Probably puts you on edge as soon as you see this hit the board, but hopefully it didn't rattle our hero here in the blue trunks. Now, they said that it did a little bit. I don't know if they recognized the level disparity until after the game or during the game, but they were aware of it at least by the end. So the cat comes out and allows the orange player to bank here and get a panic point advantage. So we'll see how blue player responds. I think they make the correct play here, taking the panic point, and then they choose to go for another turret. What do I mean by turret? Well, the stabbies, the Bowmangles, the unbearables of the world, one movement, sometimes lob, sometimes plain range. They can sit on a spot and just pour out damage like a hose. And in a lot of cases, well, all 3 cases, the ones I mentioned, they're very tanky, either naturally high HP, or in the case of unbearable, they also have a life leech on top of the lob here. So putting it on, say, this point is a common strategy on Floor's Lava for any of you out there that are struggling with this map. Control of these center points, and then preventing movement, because you get this weird cluster and, this funnel effect of all these units converging, either down here for blue or up here for orange. You can lock off some of these points. Plus, an unbearable on this point means it controls this top point, this bottom point, and this center point. Maybe not 100% controls it. We obviously have a newly dead that we're going to have to respect. You need something else, such as this cat, to come back to deal with it. But it means that you can damage these things and then put some pressure on your opponent. So I definitely like the unbearable coming out. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the fact that, it's so slow, but can't do anything about that. Now, we see an aggressive invade from the orange player. I like what they're doing so far. The creep follow-up is a little strange, but they're banking to 6 keys. The invade here is pretty solid because it's going to be challenging for our blue player to actually kill the newly dead until this Gravedigger makes an appearance, which is something that a lot of people in chat have brought up before, and that they've really, people have stood by the Gravedigger on this map, and we can see a great play with it here. It allows the recap of the point, it eliminates the newly dead, and now all of a sudden the orange player is absolutely on the back foot because this army is going to close the distance. That was a weird Pescetti dance, but let's pause and take a look at the board state here. Going into our blue player's turn. I unpaused there for almost literally no reason. So I don't really quite get why the creep spit on the cat, other than, I guess, just to do it. Obviously, if the cat advances, it was going to die no matter what. Like, there's almost no way this thing lives. So, appropriately, blue player is now invading with the cat, taking this point, forcing the orange player to screw around and waste time. Plus, this buys time. As the orange player, we've talked about tempo before, the orange player is going to have to wait. They're going to have to wait because they need to stick something on this point. Now, because they went Pescetti, they only have 3 keys. Now, Pescetti is a big threat punching and also represents the disease threat. But one of the other Phobies, or something that they summon next turn, is going to have to stand on this point after they eliminate the cat. Not a big ask, but that means something's standing there, and I'm expecting the Unbearable and or Bowmangles to assume the position on this center point. So we'll end up probably back in a even... Ooh, we get an invade here. So this is kind of bold. This is kind of bold, but I can respect it because the Unbearable is super tanky, and it also, of course, is undead. So we actually see the kill go down on Snowball, and I really like this play. This is a really cool play because I mentioned it before, both when I'm playing and breaking down games. when you can get pickoffs and continually pressure your opponent, especially on this map, because think about the follow-up from here. It's now, yes, there are 5 Phobies here, but obviously the cat's going to die. But Spit is down, although Disease is up. But in order for Disease to, say, land on Unbearable, it's going to have to probably end up, well, it could end up here. It could end up where the cat is. The creep kills this, it moves here, but that means it's in range of Unbearable, Jar, and Bowmangles. Killing that Snowball removes a significant asset from our orange player. So getting this takedown is a really strong play. I really like that. So obviously the creep eliminates the cat. It was going to die anyway, but, you know. Now the Gravedigger follow-up here is very strange out of our orange player. I'm not real sure on that. But we get the poison, oh, excuse me, the disease going down on Gravedigger. Now, we're not going to get a huge amount of damage coming down on Pescetti, but there is a chance for, again, another invade here. Obviously, the Gravedigger is already pot committed, so it's going in. We get the reposition from the Unbearable, and then we have Bowmangles getting in there, get some pot shots on this. So we're softening up the Pescetti. It's down to 800 health. And again, while the orange player has 3 keys, one of the things, 3 keys available, but 9 total, one of the things you have to keep in mind is what can your opponent reasonably represent on the next turn. And in this particular case, there's not a whole lot they can do that threatens you too much. Yeah, you don't want to commit all your forces and then go, oops, I lost everything. But there's only so much that they can actually do to you. So a Jar comes down. This may... Presumably this kills the Bowmangles? It doesn't kill the Bowmangles. They're just softening... I'm trying to see how much health is on this. 490 health, so it's got to get out while it can. But in the meantime, Orange is going to take some heavy losses here. Oh no. The Ginsting couldn't kill the creep right off the bat, which... that hurts. But we do get the kill on the creep, we get the kill on the Gravedigger, and we get additional pressure onto the Pescetti. Unfortunately, the Pescetti does not go down. I have to wonder if there was a better way to split the damage. Like, maybe leave the creep alive, and then just try and kill the Pescetti so that this disease doesn't happen. The Pescetti living always is going to feel bad. The Murder Wing is kind of aggressively positioned. I'm not sure, just to go back to this. I don't know that this was worth risking this here. Now, your opponent would have to dive. Yeah, I guess this is fine. Because if they hit it twice with Jar, they have to have some other follow-up. They only have 3 keys. There aren't a whole lot of range things. Like, they could have their own Murder Wing and possibly take it down. So they get Disease, walk away, Murder Wing your Murder Wing, and then have it die to the Bowmangles. But instead, we see the Disease go down. Obviously, the Bowmangles goes down. But the Stabby is an interesting answer here. The panic points are even. But the invade here, again, our blue player is taking the aggressive line to heart, and I like it. I'm here for it, because this means that they are pressuring such an enormous amount that our orange player has been on the back foot basically the entire game. And I like the follow-up here of going with a 2-key in Cassowary as opposed to just a 3-key. It gives you the opportunity to send another 1-key out. You have had this panic point advantage for a while. Granted, they're at 4,100 health, but you at least get some more mobility on the board. The only problem I have with it is I'm not a big fan of just stopping it on this panic point, or lava point here. And then this is the sucky play, so I gotta rewind this for all the sucky fans out there. We have to watch this one. So clearly the Murder Wing went in, gonna die. The Unbearable went in. Well, the Jar went in, that's going to die. The Unbearable went in, now going to die to Sucky. That is not something I would have expected, but you have to assume that this orange player has, at the very least, Cassowary, or something else that can come out. Oh no, here comes the Sucky, it's true. Sucky actually scored a takedown here. Shout out to all you Sucky fans out there. I need to make like a sucky emote or something. It's such a meme on the channel. It's ridiculous at this stage. But our blue player, in the meantime, has brought out a Contortio, and I'm sure they're thanking their lucky stars that a couple turns ago they elected to instead go with 2-1 instead of just a 3. But it's now a damaged Cassowary, the Contortio, and Ginsting versus this force, which admittedly is in a pretty decent spot. You know, the jar will allow them to soften things up. This is a healthy stabby. Sucky is going to be difficult to come down or take down. This is going to be a challenge for our blue player, but they are able to control the majority of the panic points, and this has got it. Yeah, you love to see it when you're on this side of it. This is a 1 health Contortio. How mad is that guy? How mad is the orange player right now? I'd be mad. I'd be real mad. I'd be real mad. We'll see how relevant this Contortio is. His jar is level 13. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. This jar is a level 13 jar. I know I'm probably covering the level, but just reminding anybody out there watching this on YouTube later. But our blue player is making the appropriate plays here. They need to be mobile. They know what their win condition is, and that's the thing. It's, again, not necessarily about fighting the heart. It's not necessarily about taking down all their phobies. It's about whichever wins you the game. And the key here is they need to kill the heart. That, because of the eliminations a couple turns ago, which, while I like the aggressive plays, it obviously led to almost throwing the game away. But the strategy around the rest of it was pretty sound. Leaning into the aggression and maintaining the aggression, because a lot of people will end up, myself included, you go in there with a highly aggressive opener, highly aggressive mid-game, whatever, and then you take your foot off the gas. And when you do that, the game can slip away from you, because now you're working with a half and half game plan, half aggression, half playing more passive, and as a result, you just end up with crap. Here, despite the mistake, the blue player continued to apply pressure, figured out what they had to do to win, and was able to execute it. So shout out to LilPepe here. Thank you for submitting the game. And if you are interested in getting a game breakdown of your own, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. But that's going to do it for this one. That was pretty cool, chat. That one was a nail biter at the end. But I do like that. That was pretty cool. I do, like, just to restate and re-emphasize what I was saying, I found myself doing this, and I realize it as I'm doing it, that I am either taking my foot off the gas pedal or, you know, trying to accelerate into an aggressive plan when I shouldn't be, and that is causing me to lose games. So sometimes it is, and there are times where you really do need to shift game plans. You can't continue down the line you are on because your opponent caught you by surprise, you misjudged the scenario, something else happened. I mean, there's no real variance in Phobies, so really it's going to be one of those two. It's not like card games where, oh, well, like, just top deck something. You know, like, you played to certain odds and they hit the low end, or like the low percentage chance. But I've lost a ton of games where, and that's the big decision point. Do you stay or do you get off the plan? You stay on the train, you jump off. And it can be a tough call to make, but recently I've lost a lot more games where I've tried to redirect, and I don't think I should have. I would have been better off committing and staying with it. Aggression is okay, but standing close to their keys enables them to get easy kills. Agreed, Shrimp. Agreed. That was overly aggressive. The positioning was, throughout that game, I think, was suspect. There were a lot of times where, well, maybe not a lot, but there were at least a couple times where our blue player, like, probably the Unbearable didn't have to get hit with Piscetti. The Bowmangles possibly didn't have to be on the lava. The Cassowary absolutely didn't have to be on the lava. But I think that for the most part, I like that they played to the appropriate outs. That's the overall thing. Like, yes, you can always nitpick certain plays, and it's important to do that in order to improve, because if you don't make those mistakes, you don't have the close games, you just win. But it's also, you have to give credit where credit is due, right? I did the math and it was fine till I remembered Sucky existed. Sucky almost killed me. Quinley, but obviously it comes up occasionally. Alright, so we're on the same map. I don't mind this map, but this map going first feels somewhat obvious. Now, the unbearable opener that we saw last game was somewhat new, but it kind of is the same opener as Stabby. I think the better play was destroy the statue. We couldn't really. I mean, we'd have to devote a lot of time to it. I don't know that destroying the statue... Once we committed to the erratic, destroying the statue probably mattered. Because we had to, like, it had to come through that choke point. But at the same time, in general, I rarely like to waste time destroying the statues. It's kind of a, if this materializes, we'll take it, but otherwise I don't care sort of thing. We're just gonna do what we normally do. I don't know if I really want to do that right now, but honestly, I'm tired, chat. I'm tired, so we're just kind of doing stuff. But yeah, destroying the statue, while always an option, there were a couple problems with what we did. A, we ended up with a bunch of range stuff on a map that has a lot of clustered lobbing scenarios. And our opponent committed a Gravedigger to the board, so we probably should have saw the lobs coming, right? We're going to be aggressive about this. I don't know if this is the right play, but we're going to do it. We're in there, chat. We are in there. I don't know that we want the Cassowary follow-up, but typically, as a follow-up to this, I go Cassowary or Flopsy. The problem with Flopsy here is I'm fearing the Snowball, but honestly, maybe it would have been okay because they come in with Snowball, and then we just... Okay, you come in with Snowball, we'll kill it. Maybe that's fine. I mean, we're going to get hit with bees here. Obviously, this goes down. We knew these two were going to die, right? Fireball is down for a couple turns, so there is that. We can't actually kill the Snowball here, and we get a Creep as an answer to... Ooh, Creep and Sargasson. This is something you don't typically see. I mean, it's an ultra rare, so, you know, obviously. We have to kind of juggle things. Because I don't want them to get hit with the spit. If they want to spit on Contortio, like, okay, you got me. But I don't want them to spit on the other stuff. I'm not real sold on this. On the K9000. They have multiple poison phobies, so I wanted to go a mechanical. But I don't know that it matters enough. But this allows us to present like 3 threats on anything that covers these panic points, because this can come down, this can run in and leap, and then we can move up Stabby and hit something. Which is okay, but I don't know that that's good enough. Mostly because we can't deal with this. This is a fairly high-level Gin Sting. By fairly, I mean it is. So we're going to have to take the kill here on Snowball, I guess. So what is our follow-up? Because the Stabby's going to get spit on. Like, they're going to kill these... Or they only have to kill this, but they're going to clear a path. So what is our follow-up? Like, normally I would go Jin Sting, but is that really what we want here? This means it's out of range of the spider. Jar could hit it, Jin Sting could hit it, but if they commit the Jin Sting, it's dead. And our Jin Sting likely survives 2 turns. Clearly, the Stabby's going to get spit on, like we said. The Cassowary's not going to live. They might actually be able to kill it with the spider. Ooh, they spit on it with that. Interesting. So are they retaking this with the spider? So we've sacrificed a lot of keys for heart damage. They haven't reclaimed anything yet, so I mean, I don't feel awful right now. I don't feel great. So they went for a Jackalope. That's fair. A Jackalope King, specifically, although the King decided to run back to the castle. So we have a Murder Wing, which now represents a lot of damage. This is a lot of damage that can come down. And we can't dive their Jin Sting. We only have like 800 on the board. 800 and change. So this is 5. We'll say 10 rounded up. 12. So they won't be able to kill this. They could kill the Stabby. But that means that they have to bring things into range. How are we supplementing this? What is the actual answer here? I don't really like this. I feel like we've just hemorrhaged an enormous amount of keys over the course of this game, and I don't think we've gotten the damage we wanted. Why don't I use Unbearable? I just didn't feel like it. Honestly, Unbearable was in every single game I played for a very, very, very long time. Here, I don't think Unbearable would work out very well. The reason being is we want to push more damage and try and get... Like, the goal we're trying to get is to cap all the points for as long as we can. And Unbearable's not really going to supplement that very well. I did consider it because it is tanky enough that it could work. Alright, we might be able to punish them for this. I don't know. Or 70, huh? So Spit will not be live. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We have to do this. The only question is, like... Oh, we can't kill their Jar anyway. Their Jar is way too high of a level. I don't like this. I don't like this. Unbearable was key for opponent to win last game. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you do the same plan as your last opponent. Unbearable was important, but that was the same thing as I started out with this game, with the Stabby and Unbearable. They're basically interchangeable, for the most part, with this sort of opener. I think the Unbearable shuts down specific things from player 2, where Stabby offers different options. Plus, starting Unbearable that early in the game versus Unbearable now are two wildly different things. It's kind of like saying, oh, well, my opponent went Kivo last game, or my opponent went whatever last game. It's not really a coherent argument for doing anything, honestly. It just, okay, that's what they went. So if we do this... Probably should have had Jar out already. I was thinking about doing this last turn, but... So they can hit us for 6, 10. That's a dead Jin Sting, if we go there. We're just getting bodies at this point. We're just getting bodies. But yeah, going unbearable is fine. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just trying different stuff. Like, this scenario that happened last game with the unbearable, I feel right now is somewhat unique to that particular game. Now, we could have forced unbearable this game in order to just, okay, can we recreate it and then test it out? Which is something that I will do over the long term. But I wanted to try and force these particular lines now with this particular setup because I want to try out certain things. Which isn't to say that I'll never revisit those ideas or come back to any of these things, but, you know. So I kind of like the Gesundheit here. I like the Gesundheit here. And that's a Henrietta. They can hit us for 4, 6, we'll say 7, 10. They can kill this, basically, is the problem. Unless we body block or something. So they should not be able to kill our Jin Sting now. But we're still going to have to back off, I think. Like, they're going to come in and poison it. Our Flopsy's not going to do great because they still have too many Phobies on the board. They should be able to kill this Electrocat unless they choose to make a mistake and, like, try and push damage on the Jin Sting for no apparent reason. Yeah, they're going to retreat. They hit it with this. That'll kill it. Oh, they're going to back off the Clinico. That's fair. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But where's the Henrietta gonna go is the question. This should be dead. This Gesundheit. Like, are you offering that up to us on purpose? Because that seems odd. That seems odd. Like, this opponent has played very well, so I don't know why they would just offer this up unless maybe they counted it and we can't get it, but I'm pretty sure we can get it. Maybe they're assuming that I'm going to continue to be aggressive. We're just going to kill this thing. So, at this stage... How much is this Henrietta? 864. So we can't quite kill the Henrietta. Like, I want to pull Jin Sting back to heal, but we kind of can't. I guess you just go here. You go here. So as long as we can maintain 2 panic points, like, we're going to pick off the Henrietta and the Clinico, ideally, and then we just hold the panic points, because Stabby's clearly not going to be able to do enough. Alright, so they advance the Stabby, which is good for them. Like, that's the appropriate thing to do. This is 8, and 5 is 13. 15? Like, we probably have to back off, but we have a life lead, so we can, you know, we can get set up. This is 465, 665, 697. So they kill this and then they walk Clinico in. Like I said, we have a couple turns to set this up, so we don't need to rush things. We'll soften up Henrietta, so that way we can try and take it down. Like, this now will... No, it won't quite die to a single set of volleys. Like a turn's worth of volleys from the jar. It's close, but it's not quite there. We have to get rid of the Henrietta, and then we can try and recap points with the Flopsy. Get a little hydrate action. Gotta stay hydrated, chat. Now, this is interesting. Whoa, that's real interesting. 4, 9, 10, 13, 18. We should be able to kill the Stabby. Like, this is bold. I'm on record for being an advocate for being aggressive, but, like, this is bold. I guess they figured they can kill the AWOL, but, like, they can't kill the jar this turn. That seems... I don't really understand that one. Yeah, that should put the game in our favor. That should put the game in our favor. So, like, they're gonna kill it, but are you gonna stand on it? Because then we're just gonna kill your thing, whatever it is. I mean, they might be giving it up, I guess, but I don't think their position was terrible. Like, it wasn't absolutely atrocious or something. They probably just want XP. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. That's why, like, I've also been on record that, like, you should be able to just scoop games up and not suffer any consequences. But GG, we managed to pull that one back. I thought that one was going the wrong way, but GG. GG. Unbearable's a bigger threat than Stabby? Not quite. Not quite. Because Stabby can come out sooner, like, the one key difference matters. It's not necessarily... When you say a threat, does it do more damage? No. Does it sustain more damage? Yeah, I mean, it has more hit points and life leech. But it depends on what you're valuing it for. Stabby right now, like, I like Unbearable as an answer to Stabby, honestly, because, you know, you can tank through a lot of it. And because it's a lob, you'd have the advantage of positioning, depending on what happens. Like, you can kind of bully your opponent out, to a degree. But Stabby pours out way more damage, not just because of the actual damage, but also due to Voodoo. So, is it a bigger threat? Maybe. Maybe. It kind of depends. It honestly depends. So I tested Russell since you got him a few days ago. So what'd you get, Roxbridge? What are the results? What are the results for the experiment? We got a Lufee game. We'll do a Lufee breakdown after this. Well, or I'll pull it up while we're waiting on what Roxbridge's results are. Lufee with the Rocket Man. Gotta love it. You love to see it. Rumos on 6-5. Oh no, Lufee, did you not pin it? Oh wait. Oh, here we go. He's okay. Forces your opponent to commit, especially if they have 2 or 3 undead phobies. Also didn't know Russell's regular attack is 360 degree AoE. Yeah, it's something that's really weird. Like, I don't really understand why it has that, but it kind of feels as though they decided, they being the devs, that Russell wasn't enough on its own. You know, like just the AoE wasn't enough. So they're like, well, what can we do? We can't give it ranged. Let's give it the AoE. I think it's fine. Russell's just super fragile is the biggest issue. But yeah, you can definitely force your opponent, and that's the thing, your opponent has to respond in certain ways to Russell. They can either go mechanical, they can go into a bunch of healing phobies, you know, stuff like that. How do you counter their counter is going to be the answer. Luffy's avatar is so cool. Exactly. All right, chat. I won a game with him today when my opponent was board locked with 2-dimensional and 3 undead. Ouch down population them. They definitely were screaming as soon as you put that down. That's awesome, Roxbridge. That's awesome. Did you actually kill him with the poison? Or was it like they were so low you just mopped him up after that? I mean, either way, it's the same. But like that's pretty cool. Like, that's living the dream with Russell, right? That's living the dream. Luffy avatar is 500 beans and he's using it, by the way. Yep. Got to shout out to Luffy avatar. No, I just overcommitted and I picked him off nice. I mean, at a certain point, they probably decided, okay, I have to do this. You know, like, they don't have a choice. Get a little hydrate action. All right, chat. We're going to jump into a Luffy game breakdown. We're coming with another viewer game breakdown, this time from Luffy. Look at that beautiful avatar. That's some Rocket Man action. We're jumping into this close win that Luffy had about a week ago at the time of this recording. So let's see what we got. We're zoning into Lights Out. Thank God that this map is out of the pool. But zoning in as in the blue trunks as our blue player is the bad guy, starting off with a Gravedigger. But our hero here in the orange trunks, the Rocket Master himself, it is Luffy. Let's see what Luffy does. Luffy, the Rocket Man Master himself, immediately. Yep. Look, you gotta commit to the meme. If you are the Rocket Master, you're kind of locked into having the Rocket Man avatar, right? So Luffy, also in true Luffy fashion, starts off with Blinky. Blinky has become somewhat of a signature for Luffy. I don't mind this opener. Now, the response from our blue player is interesting. It's a Gesundheit plus, obviously, the advance from the Gravedigger. Now, the question is, does Luffy tank it? Luffy chooses to tank it. This is interesting. I mean, the jar allows the takedown on the Gravedigger, which, I mean, I still get caught by this all the time, and I'm sure many people out there do. None of you good players, though, right? Only bad players like me. Not to say that our blue player is bad. They probably just made a mistake. I'm a bad player. But you get sniped by this jar, and that's gotta feel bad, because they probably were counting on that damage in order to take down this Blinky. Remember, Blinky is undead. So the Gesundheit is able to tee off, but we get a follow-up Unicorn. Now, we've seen some Unicorn plays on this map that allow it to just completely cluster the center with traps, and given that the Gravedigger did pop one of these blocks, there's greater mobility, but this second block is still there, which is going to challenge these one-move Phobies to do something. It's going to be tough for them to find the wiggle room. Now, Luffy's answer is his own Gravedigger, as well as capping this point, which I can respect. Obviously, the Blinky's down to 700 health. It will get another hit of over 500 in on something at some point, I assume. But from here, we're kind of just setting up. The blue player has to advance and has elected to go with the Cyclops, a tankier ranged unit, which I can understand because it will allow them to invade to a degree and not necessarily lose everything immediately. I really want to trap phobia and more flying phobies. Don't we all, Onda? Don't we all? There's definitely some, like, I want to get Baba Yaga. Shout out to my Baba Haha fans out there. But we'll get back to that. We'll get back to the game first. So we see traps go down, expected. Hopefully Luffy's expecting that. We see the reposition from the jar to try and, you know, get some shots on things. It's going to clear this out, and Luffy appropriately prepared with the Bachelor, because at this stage and on several other maps, I've mentioned this before, but there is this back and forth, this tug of war over the neutral points. And it's often just, I'm sending in one key, it's going to die. I'll send in one key, it's going to die. I'll send in one key, it's going to die. I'll send in one key, and it's going to die. And you just go back and forth, and it comes down to who can drain the other player of keys first or set up some other play in order to protect their one key. Now, this trap here is going to be 575 damage, which will actually kill this Bachelor, so it can break the parity here because of the sequence. For those of you who aren't aware, the trap will go off and kill the Phobie, and then you won't get control of the point. Assuming the Bachelor goes in as compared to the Gravedigger, which we have to assume. So the Gravedigger does advance. It's going to actually take down the Gesundheit, which I think is appropriate. Now, you have to, as Lufee, you have to assume that the Gravedigger's dead. And the Blinky goes in, which also makes sense. Because this could tie up the Cyclops. Now, the Blinky heals to 900, which is... Actually, this is going to live. This is going to live if they double hit it. So that may force them to go after this Gravedigger, but it's going to need help. Maybe? No, they should get it. 2 hits from this, plus the hit from the Cyclops should take it down. But we get a Hevo follow-up from Lufee, which is awesome. Get the lob action going, and it's softening up this cat. We haven't reclaimed this point yet, and since the cat didn't die, now this Gravedigger should meet its end. Yep. Down goes the Gravedigger, as expected. And then we see the parting shot from the Cyclops. But given that there's no healing spa, and we haven't seen any healing phobies yet, we know that the Cyclops' damage is permanent, we'll say. Obviously, healing phobia could come in later. A remaining 11 keys to 9. Lufee does have a board advantage from a phobie perspective, or did. But the Bachelor goes down to the trap. And we see a follow-up Alligator. Not a huge fan of the Alligator myself. Not on this map. Or in general for the most part. There are maps that are showing promise for Alligator, but not a huge fan here. That being said, there's also an Electrocat. You don't see that every day. So that means that Lufee's probably in retreat mode here. You're not going to kill really anything. I mean, you could, but you're probably risking something bad. But the namesake of the Rocket Master does make an appearance, and this is why Rocket Man is awesome. For those of you that are unfamiliar or haven't seen it come up before, Cryostasis is Rocket Man's ability. It's a 3-turn cooldown. You obviously can't use it when you first pop out. And it freezes an enemy unit, and frozen units can't move or attack, and fire melts it by 1 round. Here's the thing. You can target the frozen units, so you can blow them up. Rocket Man is fantastic to try and address singularly large phobies, because it just locks them down. You can take a core component out of your opponent's army just out of play, and you don't even necessarily have to jump through too many hoops to do it. Electricals to counter Hevo, I guess. I mean, honestly, this is probably more likely just here to be a 1 key, but we'll see. We'll see. You do have to respect it. You have to respect it because it is a hit for 400. It's not an insignificant amount, but, like, this thing's kind of irrelevant. So we see a parting shot onto the Unicorn. Now, Lufee pulls back and is still in range of getting hit by a bunch of stuff on the Hevo specifically. But he is able to eliminate the Unicorn, so we're not going to be seeing any more traps after this one. The problem is this jar is going to eat it. So was it worth it? Maybe. Maybe. It's worth picking things off. Lufee is an expert with Rocket Man at this stage, so I have to trust the judgment here of, you're clearly going to get the lockdown on the Alligator, right? So the Alligator is never going to be relevant for the rest of this game. And in the meantime, you're going to start clearing stuff out. And although you're down on panic points as Lufee, you have plenty of time. Like, look at the heart here. 4,900 health. Okay, you're taking 400 across both players' turns, 400 and change. Who cares? Now, Lufee's out of keys, as is our opponent. And we're losing the Hevo here. And we got a Baby Snaky follow-up compared to a Stabby. It's interesting. They should have put the Alligator on the lava. It would have been a better counterplay. It would have been a better counterplay. That's absolutely true, Titanium. So, I have to imagine Lufee, once again, is aware that there's a trap here, or is going to know. But the counterattacks from Rocket Man, Baby Snaky, and the team end up eliminating the non-alligators. So, at this stage, it's just a matter of locking down the remaining phobies. And by the remaining phobies, we're of course talking about Stabby. Now, this is a cool play. Lufee is saying, the hell with it. I'm not screwing around with your stuff. I'm just going heart. So it's 4,100 health to 4,300 health. Now, Lufee will get the first wave of attacks, of course, because he's already in position. And then technically the next several waves, because the Stabby is going to take 1,000 years to get to the heart, get into position. It's going to be 1, it's going to be 2, and then it'll start attacking. In the meantime, there's going to be a huge amount of damage that went down. Now, Lufee does not have the majority of the panic points, but most phobies do more damage than panic points. So our blue player elects to actually play it defensively, which, yeah, I don't think they can race. The problem is, okay, so they may have figured this out. Chat pointed this out earlier. That's why I made that comment about having the alligator on the lava. They may have figured this out and said, yep, I'm going to stand on the lava here. Or maybe they just elected to be in that position so that they wouldn't get tagged twice by each of these. Either one. But Rocket Man puts out a lot of damage. If you didn't catch it earlier, it's 560 damage and 575 from Baby Snakey. This is a lot of heart damage that's coming down. True Lufee fashion, we get the Rocket Man, we get the aggro finish. Nah, no second freeze here. Lufee's just going for the win. Lufee is bloodthirsty. Just wants that W. That was a pretty cool game. Like, I always like seeing these, and it's tough. It's tough to tell when you're watching the replay because we don't see the decision time on the player's turn. So did they count this stuff up, or did they just know, well, I'm going there? Because to me, I always appreciate when you see in a replay that somebody says, no, I'm going for the heart. I know I can end the game, and they just do it. We have seen failures of that. I've failed doing that on occasion. But I do appreciate when players just, they're determined and they say, this is how I'm going to end the game. They know their game plan and they execute it. So shout out to Lufee. This is a pretty cool win. We obviously got to see some Rocket Man action, so that's always fun. There were mistakes, like Chap pointed out, on the blue player side. You know, having the alligator frozen for that long didn't have to happen. I don't know if they put it there between the punches onto the alligator and the lava damage itself. Would the gator have gone down? Probably not. It's not impossible, but it would have been an opportunity. Obviously, it didn't work out going with the particular line they did. Rocket Man deals high damage too. Actually, yeah, it is pretty good. Didn't expect him to go for the heart. I don't know if that's sarcasm, Azumi, or if you don't know Lufee. Lufee is one of the more aggressive players, and very commonly just beelines for the heart. Maybe not like right off the bat, but Lufee does, as we've said before, there are things that we can classify as Lufee things, and going for the heart is one of them. Rocket Man is another one. Blinky is probably another one, although Blinky hasn't quite stuck as much as Rocket Man and hell-bent on punching hearts. That's a weird sentence to say. Hell-bent on punching hearts. Yeah, somebody had suggested in Discord actually pulling more of the top ladder games and doing them as breakdowns, and I don't dislike that idea. I feel as though getting the community engagement is worth it, though. Getting people submitting games, and I like doing those. It's a lot of fun, but I think there is something, and I do want to do that as an independent thing. It might be something I just record offline, like breaking down the higher leaderboard players that are up here, and then going over it, and seeing like what they do. So one thing that I have done in the past offline is basically I pick a player. So like, let's say Ryuchi. We're going to look at all the Ryuchi games that are on, well, that was Home Sweet Home. So we look at every Ryuchi game, like find 10 games from Home Sweet Home and write down what are the first 3 turns that they do and how does it work. It looks like on Home Sweet Home, Ryuchi is favoring Beauty here, which is notable. There was a loss here on Home Sweet Home where It wasn't... Wait. Yeah, this is a different map, but I just saw beauty, so I thought it was the same thing. But basically, I go through and try and find like 10 games of player on map, and then figure out what their openers are. Were they winning? Were they losing? If they lost, like, what was causing it? That sort of thing. And just go down the line, and then do the same thing with other players for the same map, because it's trying to identify what is working on this map, what is not working on this map, and then going from there. Speaking of working and not working, we'll jump into a game. We'll come back to some more reviews. We'll come back to some more game reviews. Gotta clean up the channel here. So we're now officially into this week, but there's still like 10 more reviews that I gotta do before we're off the list. I mentioned it before, I'm gonna have to do some of them offline. To stay on top of them. As long as people favorite them, they don't fall off, but we've seen in the past when there's an update that it's not uncommon to have the replays break, so that's always unfortunate. So I believe this is Ergo Unlimited, or Ergo Limited, or something like that. It's Ergo, I think. And then something. The reason I remember is I was talking to Dr. Traffic of Runestrike fame, offline, about this map, and openers and things on this. So we're going to see if we can find something worthwhile to talk about for Doc. Typically, I open like this going first. If I had Maggie, I'd go Maggie and then go a 1-drop. But I only have Murder Wing as an early flyer. You love Corn Boy on this map? I could see it. I could see it. Going second, I'm not really sure what I do on this map. I mean, I know what I do, but I don't know if it's worth it. It's my usual cassowary plus other stuff opening. So one of the things that I've seen people do here is you can... I just realized this is actually not symmetrical, the way this map is. It's interesting. Is it? No, it's not. It's shifted a little bit. I wonder how many maps are not perfectly symmetrical. But one of the things you could do is this Gravedigger opening, and it allows you to crack these obstacles, so that way you get a free run at these other ones down here. 1, 2, 3. So if we take this point, we probably lose whatever it is. This is 4, 7. 1, 2, 3. So that can't reach the snowball, I'm thinking. So that's 4, 7. This should not die, right? 4. I don't think it'll die. He said hopefully. It's symmetrical, just tricking the angles of the deaths on your eyes. That's fair, Doc. That could be true. We're gonna bank this. I want the cassowary to have some more board presence. They could invade here and put a bunch of damage on this and make our life complicated, but then we just retreat here. Yeah, we just barely survive. So, in other words, they're not going to do this, because then the cat sits on there, we'll meatball and retreat. You know, it's not going to be good for them. I like the background. Too bad on phone, can't really zoom out like that. Yeah, we've talked about the art team, but this is something that is often lost. That, like, there are other things on the maps. Not a lot, but, like, there's other stuff on the maps. I won on this map today, just building a wall with my Crushmore and him and Hevo 2.0 on guard duty. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. The playable areas aren't symmetrical. The actual playable board is. Yes. If I'm understanding you correct, Doc. Like, yes, the amount of spaces are... Well, is this a legal space going second? This one over here? Because there isn't a comparable space over here, then. So if we go here, cat can hit it, this can hit it. This plus this, what did we say it was? 8, it's like 814 or something like that. We gotta back off, because otherwise they kill it for freezies. don't know that we want this. We need something high damage to kill the stupid, bone mangles. I'm just double checking that a snowball isn't going to make us very sad, but they should, again, should not be able to kill this. You think Thunder Rocks can counter Mangles? I don't like it as a counter. That's come up before. It will, in a vacuum 1v1 scenario, it allegedly kills it. The problem is like, how often does that really happen? How often does that realistically happen? The answer is not usually. It's been a while. I haven't gotten a new rare phobie with like that paddles and baba haha. Yeah, there's a number of them. I mean, I want all of them, obviously, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. Even if you discount the stress unlocks, which somebody did the math, it sounded, and I didn't do the math, so this could be wrong, but it was something like a year, a literal calendar year of maxing stuff out in order to, if you were completely free to play, to get all the unlocks. So we have to be careful because we don't want to just throw stuff away on trying to reclaim this. It's going to be easier to get this back than not. I'm tempted to go our own Gravedigger and then just break this. We're just going to do this, though, and bank to 4. I don't really like investing in Gravedigger just to open that up on this map. There are a couple maps where I'm okay with it, but I don't know why on this map, and there's some other ones where I just don't like to do it, but maybe we should. Maybe we should have. I really want Tramples. He seems pretty strong. It opens up a lot of possibilities because a very threatening 3-cost phobia. I mean, Snowball is very strong, don't get me wrong. Droney has its purposes. But Rambolina and Mr. Tramples present something unique in that, well, obviously you get boops in one, and then the dive with Mr. Tramples presents a much more threatening posture than you would ordinarily with other stuff. Like, you can just do way more threatening things. Gravedigger opening up a path allows you to recap the panic point. Yes, that's literally what I was just saying. That's exactly what I was just explaining. I don't like doing it because it feels like I'm kind of wasting the keys to a degree, but, I mean, it's not. So again, we can hit this with 3, but that's it. Anything that commits here, we're probably okay with. Like, they'll kill this, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. Like, they could run a Droney over here, which would be super obnoxious. Like, that would be really obnoxious. So we will open it up. Like I said, I don't really like this, but it's worth trying it. It's worth trying it. Clearing the rest of the obstacles allow line of sight for range phobies too. Yes, that is true. That's not typically how this map plays out in my experience. Like, it doesn't matter. Most of the time, people don't bother with a lot of this stuff. Alright, so that's a good play. That's a good play. We'll still get this, I think. Yeah, we should. Well, we're going to pop something out anyway, so yes, we'll get it, obviously. It's just kind of annoying to have this here. It's not the end of the world. Could the Gravedigger have blocked out the Jin Sting this turn, or was it on cooldown? I think it was on cooldown, or otherwise they probably would have done it already. Given that they, you know, did it this turn. The Gravedigger invade plays are somewhat rare, but they're pretty solid. Do we do something cute like go up here? I don't think we want to. We need to back off because otherwise they can move this up and snipe something, and I don't want to open that up. So we'll just send a 1 key in here next turn, which means that we're down to like 5s after this. Which, I mean, again, we have to keep the Morty in. I'm trying to bring up Morty just so I remember that Morty exists, truthfully. How could they stop that cassowary play? Which one? Interesting that they're going to go for this. Only Hevo hits there, so I guess Snowball was the only way to kill it. If you took their stim and threatened the heart. Well, they could have just pulled back. Like, they're not... It's not like we're threatening the heart with an enormous amount of damage. Like, I think they just back up. And that's literally all they have to do. Would it take some time? Yes. But we're not pushing a humongous amount. Like, they're going to burn down the cassowary very quickly. Oh my god, I can't believe that lived. Like, we have to eliminate this, right? We possibly lose the Jin Sting here? No, I don't think they can get it, because they gotta kill their own statue in order to commit the other stuff, in which case they shouldn't be able to connect. They should have to back off here. I don't like that we went to 5 Phobies, but we're down to 3 keys anyway, so, like, what does it matter? Gravedigger and Clown / Evo kills it? Are you talking about this thing, or...? Because they're just not going to get enough hits on it in order to make it happen. Now, we're still not in great shape. Like, this is a 2,000 health Evo. Oh, the cassowary from before? Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, if we left the cassowary up here... Oh, if you meant if we invaded, yes, also there. Also that. If we had left it exposed, it would have died to, like, any number of different things. But yeah, there were a lot of ways they could do it. They wouldn't have done it immediately, Rocks, but yes, they would have had opportunities in order to threaten it. Oh, we have max amount of phobies, yeah. So we could get tagged with a sheep here, which would be bad. Like, the sheep goes up here on the lava, I guess, or they could come down here. Neither one is really great for us. Like, I don't know that this was worth it. We could get punished by sheep pretty badly. But they can't really support this in any meaningful way. Yeah, I think they're going to go for this. Which I guess is fine. Like, we have a little bit of time to get value out of the unbearable. Obviously, the murder wing just dies. Cerberus is not great for us, because we don't have a great answer to that, other than just running around. Which, honestly, if we kill these two, that's not a terrible thing. Hold on. So with bees. We want to wait on bees. Do we? We do this first, I guess. No, we're gonna wait. I'm trying to figure out how we heal the max amount of health. Bees! But I guess this is fine. Like, it doesn't matter. Bees! GG. See, like, now we can threaten this, and what are they going to do? Like, we could probably dive their heart from here. Because they can pull back, but if they do, they're giving up all the panic points. Because we can just walk away from this, and even if we don't, we can commit to it and probably kill it. 3-head boy, but you can still manage it? Yeah, I'm not worried here. They have 2 one-tile move phobies, exactly. Like, this is not... Okay, so they're pulling this back, so I'm just going to tee off on your heart. Because you're only going to be able to hit this once with the bow mangles initially, and then I'm just going to walk away. I mean, we can actually collapse on this. I don't think we can do 3,000 damage in a turn, but, you know, maybe. Pretty sure you got this now. It should be game. It should be game. He said hopefully. Unfortunately, this will not live. If we could have leached a little bit more life, we might have been okay. So we'll do 4, 9, and 5. Oh, no, we won't. So it'll be 5, 10... 18. We might be able to just end it, truthfully. GG. We got there. Didn't even need to worry about the all the other things happening. The end of that game... Well, GG first, repeat it, but the end of that game, yeah, nah, I don't really like the Cerberus plan. I don't like the Cerberus plan. I don't think our opponent was in a bad position. The sheep hit was pretty solid. It wasn't great, obviously. They had to... They might have been better off, truthfully, going for the, Oh, damage 3 phobies at 1... Like, that's going to be tough. That's actually going to be kind of tough. It's party time. But yeah, going for the Cerberus was a mistake. The sheep hit, I think they needed to hit Jin Sting, but I understand the temptation with the unbearable. I don't know. I mentioned before I don't like sheep, so it felt like 10 keys were wasted there. 4 with the sheep, and then 6 with the Cerberus. Without paddles, I mean, Cerberus is good. And maybe at that stage in the game, because remember, at the end of this game... our opponent did not... Or rather, we didn't have... When our opponent spawned Cerberus, we only had like 3 keys remaining. So it's possible they looked at the board state and said, hey, I'm just going to put this big dummy down, and they can't out big dummy me, because... This guy's gonna die. And then it's Jar, Jin Sting, and Cassowary. This Cassowary looks hilarious right now. I don't know why, but this Cassowary looks really... You know what it looks like? Remember, anybody out there like Nerds, the candy? Tell me this doesn't look like a nerd right now. I mean, you know, it's a little bit pointier of a beak rather than the rounded beak that the nerds typically have. Oh my god, can we get... We were talking about this offline, chat. We were talking about other ways for Phobies to be monetized, and I said skins wouldn't work. Can we get a nerds crossover for Cassowary? I want a nerds crossover for Cassowary. That would be awesome. Dev team, if you're watching this, make it happen. I want a nerds crossover. Get nerds sponsorship for Phobies. Get a Cassowary skin. Come on, chat. That's an awesome idea. Chat, that's an excellent idea. All right. So anyway, so the original reason that we're going back into the replay, I can kind of see where they felt they were in the position that Cerberus was safe, but honestly, like, your last two Phobies, you don't have the panic point advantage. This has to be setting off alarm bells in your head. Now, I'm not trying to beat up our opponent here by any means. I mean, this is a level 8 Cerberus. It's a big threat. You could walk the dog up to the heart, but we have too much mobility. I don't know. Cerberus requires specific scenarios, and obviously this wasn't one of them. Chat, now I'm excited, and I want to get the nerd skin. We're jumping into another viewer review here. Now, this was submitted for this particular game. I believe this is Arena. Sivadas? I apologize. I'm terrible with pronouncing names, and feel free to correct me if you ever show up in chat. Which, by the way, if you want to see some live Phobies action, come on over to the live Twitch stream, RTChompGG. Checking this out on YouTube. Or join the Discord down in the description. But if I'm ever mispronouncing somebody's name, feel free to correct me, because I would like to make sure that I'm doing it appropriately. So we're going to jump into this particular game. So let's see what's going on. There were no notes that accompanied this game. Oh, wait, no, there were notes. We're going to pause. What was said by the person who submitted this? This game is just too much fun to watch starting turn 9. That's when I make my own little Flopsy zoo to enjoy for the remainder of the arena match. Hope this fun troll to watch or feature on your stream. Thanks for the great YouTube vids. Well, thank you for watching them. And thank you out there. If you're watching this on YouTube, seriously, likes and subscribes and comments do actually help. I know that's the YouTube spiel, but it does. Anyway, so we're zoning into Floor's Lava. While a lot of people don't like this map, we've been getting a lot of replays on it. So our hero here in the blue trunks, the good guy, whereas the bad guy zoning in the top right over here on Floor's Lava in the orange trunks. We get a more standard opener, 1-1. Makes sense. I favor something like this. Recently, I've been going 1-1-1, but I initially started with 1-1 into 4 and then going from there. But the bad guy here goes 1-2, banking a key. I was going to say a coin. So we're matching at 4 keys, and we get a Flopsy. So already we're starting with the Jackalopes that were rumored. But the advantage of this particular opener is you get to do something like this. Now it's a 4-2 panic point advantage, and we get a Gravedigger right off the bat. This is something that a number of people in chat and Discord have pointed out, is popping this obstacle with Gravedigger. It allows you an enormous amount of mobility. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can't quite get to this without a flyer, unless I'm miscounting these tiles. Pretty sure that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But you could get it with a 3-move Phobie. We'll say that. It does allow you to move around and set up other stuff so that you don't have to have these weird clusters. Now, our orange player appropriately pins the cat in here so that way it's not going to escape. This cat surely will meet its demise soon, and we actually get an aggressive invade from Cowbell. Now, this is interesting. Both this particular item. This looks like one of those paper RPGs. The way the art here, I don't know, it just looks really cool to me. I had to pause for a moment, but I had to click all the way down here as opposed to up here. The Thunder Rock's response to the Cowbell seems excessive. Like, that's really weird. Granted, it one-shots it, but is that really necessary? So the Gravedigger is able to recap this point. Okay, all right. I mentioned it in other game reviews and as I'm playing, but I can appreciate a strong, aggressive play, and this is about as aggressive as it gets. Our blue player is maintaining 4 keys, so there's still the threat of their own Jin Sting or other 4-drop coming out, or even 2-2, 1-1, 1, whatever, you know, depending on how many things go down, because obviously the cat's going to go down. and odds are the Contortio. But right now, there are 5 blue panic points. This should be inducing some panic from our orange player right now. So the aforementioned dead cat, because as we all know, jackalopes are the natural predator of cats. If you're a cat person, fear the jackalope. Just saying. But we get a bunch of damage going down on Gravedigger here. As opposed... Oh, they split the damage? Wait. Sorry, I was busy talking about cats and jackalopes and, like... Why did they split the damage? Well, I guess I can understand splitting damage. There's a more aggressive play for this map. There are more aggressive ones, but... I don't see a lot of people take the aggressive ones. So, yeah, they... This might have been... Because, remember, this was an arena game. They might have just whiffed on the attack. Like, I'm confident they didn't hit end turn. They probably just, you know, were waiting or whatever. So, that means Contortio lives. And that would explain why they split the attacks. But the Contortio does go down. We see the aggressive Jin Sting invade, which makes sense because, realistically, Thunderox is not a threat. But here's the problem. This Sockassin is sitting here, and this is one of the most awkward Phobies names to say. It's just uncomfortable to say. But the spider here is going to represent a huge amount of poison going down on this. So it's going to necessitate probably a Clinico or Muffin follow-up. We have to assume the orange player has it, or they probably wouldn't have done this, because they got to see this coming, right? They could have committed something else. But we get a jar, and continues to soften up the Thunder Rocks. Sock as sin? I mean, yes, but it's still awkward to say. Oh my god! We were talking about troll plays, chat! How much more troll does this get? How much more troll can you get than this? Like, when they were saying Jackalope Zoo, when the player who submitted this replay said Jackalope Zoo, in my head, I was assuming there would be, like, all 4 blue jackalopes flying around the map. Not that they were going to cage the jackalopes. I probably should have thought that. Instead, they probably would have said Jackalope Herd instead of Jackalope Zoo. It's making more sense, chat. It's making more sense. I assumed it was a cage move. Honestly, I read it quickly and I'm like, oh, there's just going to be a lot of jackalopes. But this is so troll. It's hilarious. They're going to feed it cats. Feels bad, man. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I guess. Alright, so the Sockassin does its job. It connects with the Jin Sting. It goes down. There's the Clinico. You know, we kind of expected it. This play is just so hilarious to me, though. We get a Klepto follow-up, so unfortunately for our blue player, they do not have panic point control at this stage. But is that the biggest issue right now? They're already winning. They're already winning. Actually, it's a good idea. It's like they can only 4 max Phobies. Yeah, it really is. Wait, what just... Oh, no. Not like this. Oh, orange player. I was looking at chat, and I was going to say, oh, yeah, they just moved the Bowmangles down, but, like... Why? This Bowmangles was dead no matter what. Flopsy, let me in! Let me in! No, let me out! Let me out! I think the orange player may not be very experienced. That could be possible. That could be possible. I don't know. I didn't see what level they were at when we first zoned in. But yeah, the other option is like they were taking a very long time on their turns and ran out of time. Because they didn't even need the Thunder Rocks here, our blue player. Because just the Thunder Rocks on its own would have eliminated, like, the Thunder Rocks plus Klepto. Like, this Bowmangles was dead. It was dead. But instead, the Gravedigger is able to clobber it. They had higher elo. I didn't catch it at the beginning, DT. And again, for anybody out there watching this after, we're not trying to beat anybody up. Just, these are, like... It could be, honestly, just to take a moment, like, I've done this on stream, and Chad will attest to this. I'll make a mistake. You know, like that Bowmangles mistake at the beginning. And then it just snowballs from there. And it's just horrendous. Because, like, you just keep compounding the errors in increasingly terrible ways. and like you just play on tilt. Maybe that's what's happening. It's entirely possible. Gravedigger, I'm gonna stop this this Jackalope's whole career. That's pretty much what happened. This is hilarious. If there's a Crushmore that comes out and recages it, I'm gonna lose my mind. For the record, I'm gonna lose it. So anyway, we see a Eternal Night come out, but again, we see aggressive blue plays. Now, once again, 5 points are blue. We see the invade from the Thunder Rocks on the Heart because it's down to just barely over or barely under 2100 health. I never noticed how Klepto walks here. That's not right. What? That's not right. Anyway, sorry, that distracted me like an enormous amount. Yeah, pretty much Roxbridge. So we get the Klepto in position, we get a Spud. There's no way for our orange player to body block if they wanted to the Heart because we have lobbers. So at this stage, I mean, we know how the game was ending, but we see an attempt to try and reclaim these points, and I think it's just all over but the crying. Yeah, this is the last turn. This was absolutely a troll game. The Jackalope Zoo, it was not a lie. The Jackalope Zoo happened. I don't know why the microscopic waited until I scrolled back over. I think this was well played by our blue player. If I had to wager a guess, I would say that our orange player probably ran out of time on a couple turns and that induced some of those things. But yeah, the whiff with the Bowmangles, then the move with the Bowmangles there, those were just crippling because it hemorrhaged so much tempo trying. The orange player just constantly felt like they were on the back foot. But shout out to our blue player here for submitting this game. That was a really cool play. That was a really cool play setting up the Jackalope Zoo. We're penning in the Jackalopes. But GG. Well played, and thank you for submitting. If you want to get your own games on stream, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord. You've heard the spiel probably 8 times already tonight. Chat definitely has. I think it's Primals 1 versus Doomsday 1. Fair. But I can totally relate to panicking and or just tilting off the face of the earth in a situation like that. Yeah, absolutely, DT. Like, it could be inexperience. And that is not... Anybody watching this later, like, when I say inexperience, I mean it. It's like, look... None of us are great when we start the game. We all have to learn. Gotta get a little hydrate going. Anda's out there making sure that I'm staying hydrated. So is the rest of chat. Usually pretty good about that. But inexperience is just that. It's just inexperience. You don't know and you have to learn. And sometimes, unfortunately, you know, experience is a very painful teacher. So it happens. But it's entirely possible also that the one mistake just sent the snowball rolling down the hill and started the avalanche of tilt, because I've 100% been in that situation a lot. We've had tons of streams where that ended up happening, and it would bleed from game to game, which is one of the biggest things that you have to fight, is sometimes you really do just need to stop playing, take a deep breath, and come back. A little hard to do when you're streaming, and I gotta do a continuous time frame, but, you know, you get the idea. Pack opening when? End of the season. You got another 15 days, I think we figured out. Well, it's under 15 days. We're almost there. Yeah. I think Crazy knows the spiel by now. But anyway, we're actually not... We might not hit our tier 2 reward. I usually start feeding when my cassowary gets snowballed turn 3. That would probably set me off too. That would set me off too. Alright, chat. We'll play one game. We'll play a game. And then we'll, maybe do a breakdown on one of the top ladder games. Like, choose one of those. We'll break out the Telestrator and go from there. Alright, so we're zoning in onto... This is one of the new maps. What the hell is the name of this map? Phobopolis, right? Yeah, it's gotta be, because we got, like, skyscrapers and other buildings and stuff. So as compared to the Office maps, this is a cityscape. So does that mean that... I mean, we know that the Phobies are supposed to be, like, lore-wise, they're in your head. They could be whatever size you want. But does that mean that all the Phobies Like, on the one map, they're human size or half human size. And then here, they're all Godzilla sized. You haven't played this map? We played this once last night, so we're going to try the Dr. Traffic opener here. Because he had suggested that last night on stream. We can't really threaten this cassowary that much, or the murder wing with our cassowary. They would just walk it away, so this seems fine. 466 away from the 2K pack. We're close. We're getting there. I'm hoping we can get it. This looks fun for Crushmore. We were talking about the other night, like, we spent an extended period of time talking about the different things you could do on this map, and I think there are a lot of options. All these obstacles are actually small cubicle maps. Yeah, like, this is the entire map. Is just this thing right here. That would be pretty funny. That's actually a cool way to look at it, DT. I like that. I like that a lot. Alright, our opponent banked a 6. Now, the danger here is that they can juice the murder wing and then just go murder something, obviously. But if we move here, they juice it, they go there. Do we actually have to go, like, here? Because otherwise we're in range no matter what. Now, we might be able to counter kill the, whatever they send in. I also want to bank. It's just a question of what do we send in. So if we do 2, 10, then... So I kind of want to get a Hevo online. So I think we just go with a 1. So we're putting this here because it can threaten either retaking the middle or here. Because what I expect is going to happen is they just kill the cat with the murder wing. They're not going to juice it. Unless they try and dive here for some reason. And then the cat comes in. So we counter kill the cat. And then we send in the cowbell. The problem is that then our stuff's going to be re-exposed to the murder wing juice play. I don't know. The monkey terrifies me when my opponent has a jar ready to be stimmed. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Definitely makes sense. All right, so they elected to not recap the point. So they did that specifically in order to keep Meatball alive, which makes sense. So we get Paschetti. Get a little Paschetti action. So I only have the one Hevo, which is clearly going to come out to play here. So what do we do? They could juice this. It would be 6. Like 700, this would live. This is probably okay? Question mark? Monkey goes clang clang, it's true. What's your opinion on the map setup? So you believe some maps have an advantage if you start on one side of the map? I don't know that I agree it's 100% true, DT, that you always have an advantage going first, but I would definitely say the majority of the map, so when you go first, you have an advantage. You have 2 less keys. On the large maps, yes. On the small maps, it's only 1. But the thing is that you can get such a huge advantage going first because you're first to act with positioning that you get to dictate a lot of what's happening. And that's just inherently a huge advantage. So, for example, in chess, it's statistically true that going first in that game is better. Like, it just is. So we need to reclaim some points here. This is not great because we're going to hemorrhage 2 keys here for free, basically. Game. I don't know that we want to expose this Hevo like this either, honestly, but we're going to try this. They're never going to cluster. Well, maybe not never, but they're not likely to cluster for us. You also have the worst decision to react since you're the one starting. Yes, but by definition, like I said, you get to dictate what happens, and that is pretty much, like, that's better. Probably strictly better than reacting. When you get to dictate the flow of things. Alright, so we get the disease on the murder wing. That's not unexpected. We get the clang clang. What is it? This is going to snipe the cassowary. Also not unexpected. Unfortunately, the Hevo's out of position because we came down here, which, I mean, that was going to happen. I meant more the slight differences to keep the mat symmetrical in a sense. I think it comes down to just, like, going first, going second, less so, because the maps are symmetrical from a movement perspective. I think the one we were on before Ergo is the only one that's different, as far as I know. Hold on. We'll probably do this. I don't know if we kill this. We should be able to get it if we don't. How much health did it have? Snipe with the droney. Do this. We meatball. Now let's this hit Piscetti. We have 8. Another disease would be super obnoxious. We don't really have any mechanical phobies to answer this thing. We kind of have to kill this soon so that it doesn't get another disease online, but it's going to. You know, we could go this. I don't know if I really like this fish tank play, but we're going with it. As far as I can tell, there are no actual differences. The maps are kept symmetrical. There's that minor difference we saw in Ergo, but I don't know how much it matters. I'd have to look at it closer. Because I don't think it's ever come up, as far as I know. There's some big breakpoints, like you can start with a cat, cowbell, and contortio. They didn't even get cat, contortio, and canine. True. All maps are symmetrical. Look at the hexagonal thingy. They are, to a degree. Like, we just talked about on Ergo. We can pull it up after this, but there is, like, one space that's different, because I think you can't be there on if you are player 2. What you're thinking is a space on Ergo is not a place you can place a phobia. Exactly. I mean, yes, that's literally what I'm saying. My fingers are freezing right now. It's hard to type. Oh, that doesn't sound good, Alpaca. Although I would probably trade scenarios right now because it's super uncomfortably warm here. So this quest for Hevo is just not ever going to happen. Although Hevo could die this turn, truthfully. Hevo could eat it this turn because this is going to get a leap. We kind of have to body block. Chat, it's the droney assassin! I mean, technically it's not killing it, but the droney is doing the work! Do we want Clinico? Like, I think we do. I just don't know that Clinico's ever going to get in range in time. We're going mechanical, chat. Team Transformer. Droney! The droney action. Yep, the droney. That counts as a point in lacrosse. Yeah, the Ray is a problem. The Ray could come snipe this, but if it does, we're gonna kill it. So I don't think they're gonna... They just poison... They disease the droney. I don't think that's gonna work out the way you want it to, friend. Yeah, the Ray is a threat. That's why I wanted the Clinico. If they choose to take the bait, we're just going to blow it up. Alright, so there's the inevitable erratic. Like, that was going to happen. I was walking with the dogs. It's cold. Fair. That's fair. Alright, so they've retaken panic point control. They only have 5 keys left. So the question is, can we chop everything down to size in time? Can they get this? 2100? No. So how are we going to deal with, like, the rest of this nonsense? We could be too aggressive here, because this puts out 1200 damage. Like, that's a lot. It won't die, though. And they can't hit it with, like, literally anything else right now. So if this stays, it's dead. Trony, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Like, I want to go spider, but I don't know that that's worth it, truthfully. We might just bank and go, like, pterodactyl and then try and take the rest of the map, because we could just ignore the erratic. As long as we don't lose the other stuff, we just ignore the erratic, right? Feels like good sheep and gas. He's weak to poison all over. Oh, for the erratic? There has to be an emo to the Droney Assassin. I need to make one. The Droney Assassin, what was the other one we were saying earlier? God, I can't even think of it. There's a couple Phobie memes, like Sucky has gotta be one, right? How do you deal with the electrical damaging dudes? I'm gonna ignore them, for the most part. Like the erratic, we can literally just run away from. So the game plan here is we kill the Peschetti, we kill this, and we kill the Ray, and then we just ignore everything else. This whole comp is weak to poison, really? Yeah, but it's not... I would have said Russell. Yeah, Russell would be good, but we can't... Like, a sheep and gas is never going to connect with more than one thing, right? Or it never should. So we have panic point control. They have to commit to us. So there's no real need for us to be in range of anything. So we kind of just hang out, right? If we go pterodactyl, we could still crap out some little keys to help mop things up, because they're out of keys right now. That's true. We got two monkeys in this game. We got Primate and we had Gonzo Bonzo. True story. True story. We could also go Scritch and juice something and, like, dive it, but, Actually, you know what? We probably want... They're going to take that center point. They're going to end up taking the center point and reclaiming it. I don't like our positioning here. The jar is in a weird spot, but I want to threaten the Peschetti up here. 1, 2, 3. So the cassowary can walk in. Evo 3.0 Scritch. It would be pretty cool. Basically just kill this and this. And yeah, it's easy, chat. Like, it's easy to win games of Phobies. You just kill all their stuff, right? Like, it's just that easy. The game plan is kill everything. Exactly. Exactly. I know I'm reading in the wrong order, so I'm seeing, like, people's follow-up comments before their original comment, but, you know. You do what you gotta do. Our opponent has a whole bunch of turns in order to set up whatever they would like. Like, they don't have to really do much of anything. We have to be a little more cautious than they do. But basically, we just stay out of range of erratic, and, like, the majority of our team doesn't even... I mean, even Pterodactyl, to a degree, doesn't care. As compared to the poison from Sheep and Gas a few games ago, this takes... I mean, it's 300. It is more than I've seen from a lot of Pesquettis, but, like, it's going to take time in order for that to actually eliminate the Pterodactyl. Now, there's an argument maybe we should have gone something else other than Pterodactyl, including multiple medium range things, but I didn't want to send Crushmore out with this on the board. That seemed silly. Alright, so this is going to at least get softened up by the jar. But because of our current positioning, we can't commit to it. We should have put the Pterodactyl here. Because then we could have... Well, that wouldn't have mattered, because no one key. So we can hit it for 5? 10 or so? Like, we can't kill this. Alright, you got some damage that we're going to heal off, but we're going to punch... Like, we're going to kill this Pesquetti, aren't we? I think we kill it. I think you can kill Erratic. We might be able to. If we can, that would be great, but let me... Like, if we do this... We can try it. I don't think we can... Come on, game. Not quite. Not quite. That's also gonna live? That's super obnoxious. We don't want that there. We should have killed this. We could have killed this. Well, maybe not. I think we made a bad set of plays here. Erratic was dead with Jar. We wouldn't have been able to get it. We wouldn't have had enough damage. It would have lived to heal on the next turn because we could only hit it once. Because it wasn't in range. I don't think it was in range. Because we were here. Yeah, we'd have to walk up to hit it. So it was at, like... I don't think it would have got it with the burn. Maybe it would? Maybe I miscounted it. The flame does 118. Maybe we did have it and I miscounted it. I looked at it real quick. It was at 400, then it shouldn't have gotten it. I thought it was at 400, and if that's the case, then it wouldn't have gotten it. A little over 4, yeah. Because we only are doing 270, so it would have been like 380, maybe. Yeah, something like that. Alright, so they decided to cap some points. That's fine. We're just going to lay down some heat on this. They will get double hits with Erratic and this, but they're not going to do enough to kill anything, so I don't care. As long as we kill this, this is the only thing that matters. Ugh, that's not great. So we're just playing it safe. Unfortunately, we don't have enough damage. Like, one more level on this Pterodactyl would be enough damage to kill this, but we wouldn't have been able to get into range anyway. So I'm not, you know, not sweating it too much. $118, $273. Well, that's the thing. If they were over 400, then they would have been fine. I don't quite remember. I'm pretty sure I looked at it and said, oh, they're at 400. So, yeah, it would have been close, but leaving it alive would have been crippling. If we committed to that play. But I could be wrong. Maybe I looked at it real quick and thought it was 400 and it wasn't. This thing has gotten off 3 diseases. That's wild. I mean, multiple of them have been on mechanical phobies, so it's utterly irrelevant, but it's hilarious. Alright, so we get the leap there and the walk away. That's fair. It's still gonna die. So clearly we kill the big nasties down here. Our opponent actually has all the panic points. They can actually kill our Hevo. That's a little obnoxious. I don't think they can run from us forever at this stage, though. Like, it doesn't matter. We're taking a bunch of damage. Like, can they kill the Hevo? No, they can't kill the Hevo. Well, they could hit, walk away. Yeah, they hit, walk away, and then walk in the Pischetti, and then the Pischetti dies. So, sure. You got this? Yeah, I don't think we can throw this. I mean, well, I don't want to say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say we can't throw it, because we can throw it. There are ways to do it. But yeah, they have to do this. That should lead to a dead one of these, because we'll hit it with that, and then we just run down their Clinico. Doing alright so far. We're doing okay. We're just kind of chilling out. We're going to do another game review. We're going to pull one off the top ladder. Oh yeah, that's dimensional. I forgot those are dimensional. And we'll go about reclaiming these points. We could have done this differently then. Hold on. Like, this doesn't have to die. Wait, hold on. Can't we... Yeah, we do this. And we walk this here. I knew there was a way to do this, like, so that we could claim the point. It just took a couple tries. We got there, chat. Why hit the erratic with the jar if it would have died to fire? Was it low enough? Honestly, if I did that, I was probably just not paying attention. Like, I didn't count it. Or it could have been that. I don't know if it was a... It could have been either scenario. Either I was doing it because I didn't count it, or we did count it and it wasn't enough. Like, those are the options, right? It could have easily been a mistake, but it may not have been enough damage. I'd have to go back and look at, like, which particular play you were talking about to know for sure. GG, we managed to take it down. So we're 2-0 on Phobopolis. I don't know if we have a quest for anything. So we did get the Hevo in play, though, and it didn't get a single 3-hit. So not any closer to completing that quest. But GG, we take those. We take those. Not bad, not bad. All right, chat, let me update the overlay. 3080. Chad had mentioned, I forgot whether it was in Discord, but they mentioned off stream that people were interested in seeing more breakdowns on high-level games as compared to just the viewer replay games. So, we'll take a peek at probably, I guess, a Ryuchi game. Because Ryuchi is currently at the top of the ladder. We have looked at Claw's games in the past, and we've also played against Alien Engineer and Claw's a lot, and Ryuchi. Basically, everybody up here, we played against them. It happens. But they are far and away, like, way, way better ranked than I am at the moment. So we'll jump into a Ryuchi game. We're just going to pick one kind of arbitrarily. We ran these two. This is Floor's Lava. I think people are sick of seeing that. Let's take a look at Ryuchi versus Claws. This should be a good game. These are relatively... They're both very high up on the ladder. They are relatively even in stress levels. This is also on crypto, which just came into the rotation again, meaning that it's going to be on there for a while. So we'll jump into this Aqua game instead. So we're zoning in Ryuchi versus Aqua. As requested by chat, we're going to try and do some breakdowns of higher ranking players. Right now, Ryuchi is number 1 on the ladder, and chat's telling me that Aqua is number 5 on the ladder. Now, we know the result of this game zoning in. This is on Home Sweet Home. Now, compared to what I've been doing, what a lot of people in chat have been doing, that is a stabby opener. Tonight, we saw some unbearable, not openers going first, but early unbearables to try and set up a turret. Here, we instead see a snowball coming in to immediately cap a point. We'll see how this works. And notably, I did pick a game, or chat pointed me to a game this time that wasn't an early surrender. We'll put that out there. We get the counter snowball to spit on the snowball here. Makes sense. I expect we'll see a snowball. Oh, we get the body block from the Bachelor. So all 4 keys come down from our orange player. Double dimensional Phobies. Shout out to my dimensional enjoyers in chat. Bachelor is one of the 1 keys usage that are good. I'm usually not a fan of Bachelor, but here the positioning definitely makes sense. Now, you could have arguably spit on this Bachelor, but it wouldn't have killed it. This is actually a level 12 Bachelor. So that's why we didn't get the spit there. The Bachelor is going to reclaim a point. We get the snowball reposition and then a murder wing. The murder wing is a level 12. We already looked at the Bachelor. How big is the snowball? The snowball is a level 13 compared to a level 10 snowball, level 9 cat, and a level 8 cassowary. So the level advantage is clearly in our orange player's favor, which we knew coming into the game. There's like a 30 level difference, stress level difference between these players. What's the max level for a card? It's 20. The devs had confirmed that a while back, but it doesn't typically come up, so it's worth repeating. So Ryuchi, in control of the majority of the panic points, is supplementing with additional low keys, which we do often see in a lot of higher league play, higher skill play, and it's something that I'm just going to pause a comment on momentarily because we get a stabby follow-up from Aqua. A lot of newer players don't necessarily realize how important that these phobies are, these little ones. You know, your 3 keys and lower, because you will always be able to, I mean, independent of the map, you're always, unless you run out, I guess, but you're always going to be able to squeeze them in if you want to. Whereas the other ones, higher key phobies, yes, they are more enticing, they're more exciting, but the majority of your games are probably going to be won and lost on the back of your 3 keys. The positioning in the early game, getting more value out of them than your opponents. Whether that's killing resurrect phobies, it's capping points, it's sneaking in a kill here or there. They're very important. Don't underestimate your low-key phobies. Yeah, we did, Lufee, we did. That'll be going up on YouTube later, obviously. So we get the follow-up Bow Mangles, which is interesting. Now Ryuchi is locked in with all 5 phobies. It's a small map. You can't have more than that. And we have Aqua banking. Willing to take the damage, and I can understand that. Honestly, I wonder if Ryuchi should sack something to aggressively take one of these points. Instead, they bank to 8, hold their position, and allow Aqua to get to 9. I assume we're going to see a Hevo, or, you know, obviously Aqua's banking for a 9 cost. They would have played other stuff by now. Well, I take it back. They couldn't have gotten a 7 or an 8, so... At this stage, now Aqua appears to be ready to make their move. What are we going to see? It's a Smother Mother, and Smother Mother is pretty spooky for a lot of reasons. This is a level 19... Wow. Okay. Yeah. So chat was asking about what the max level is. Well, it's bigger than 19, but we do have a level 19 Smother Mother, so it has over 3k health. It's doing over 1,200 damage a hit, and its pull is doing almost 700. Like, you were coming into this game wondering, how did this game get won? How did the game end the way that it did? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is going to have a significant impact on this game. We'll see, chat. I mean, the level advantage was already in Aqua's favor, Like, the only thing we didn't check was how big is the Stabby? Well, it's not the only thing we didn't check, but Stabby's level 12 versus a level 10 Bowmangles. I mean, regardless, this is brutal. This is going to get messy real fast. So the cat gets the elimination. We get the retreat from the Bowmangles in order to ensure that the Smother Mother isn't, completely crapping on things. But the initiative is with Aqua, even though Ryuchi has all of their 14 keys banked. Because they had 5 Phobies out, so now Aqua's going to have the opportunity to act before Ryuchi can really get anything set up. These levels are bonkers. Yeah, crazy. So we see a jar follow-up. It gets all the way up here because there's really nothing from Ryuchi that can threaten it. They have to deal with this Smother Mother first. And we actually see a repositioning in order to back off to bring in a Dozer. This is interesting. This is very interesting. So we'll pin the Smother Mother. It's also ranged. It's obviously kind of slow. But the Smother Mother has a pull. What level is this Dozer? This is a level 7 Dozer. It still has 3,500 health. This is a big old boy. Look at that Dozer. He's a big boy. But this is going to be interesting. How is this going to play out? So we see the jar take down the Bachelor. The jar takes a bunch of damage, but it doesn't matter because the jar was like, I don't even remember what level. Did we check the level? This is a level 19 jar, by the way, folks. 646 health and 339 damage. In case you were wondering how much damage the high-level Phobies do. There we go. So we see Dozer followed up. Shout out to my Cerberus fans. We get a Cerberus. I don't know if Ryuchi is memeing here or if Ryuchi is for reals on this. Ryuchi should probably have sacrificed a 1 cost earlier. That's why I think 3 or 4 turns ago, an invade with, when it was obvious that Aqua was just banking, set it up so that way you can respond faster. Because here, this response may be fine. I honestly have no idea. But it seems way too slow. This is also like... Okay, so this is blocking. That was not a good time to pause. Just saying. But, so I was going to say I didn't like the invade because the Smother Mother can pull the Dozer, then hit it, then obviously everything else hits it like twice. I don't know that this block from the Cassowary is going to do enough, but we'll have to see. Yeah, that was a really awkward pause. What's the... Yeah, so if you didn't see it earlier, this is Smother Mother. And it is mean. It has a pull and it does like 1 billion damage. Yeah, it's a flashbang. That pause made the fireball a nuke. Yeah, exactly. That was a really funny time pause. Not a great one, but yeah. So... we'll have to see if this Dozer lives, but I imagine this could be the beginning of the end. I respect the attempt with both the Dozer and the Cerberus, because clearly you need a bunch of damage to take down the Smother Mother. But, like, look at this. This was a 3,600 health level 8 Cerberus, and it's already, like, it's dead. This is going to die this turn. I mean, this is brutal. Look at this. And the body... This was a good follow-up play. I didn't have a whole lot of commentary for that because, I mean, if the Cerberus could die, it was going to die. And obviously it did. But the body block here from the Snowball means that extra resources need to be committed into it before the Dozer can do anything. And the Dozer is the remaining big damage that isn't even necessarily going to be enough. Like, it's only 1,200 this turn. You basically needed all of them to connect on the Smother Mother. But I think the writing was on the wall for Ryuchi a couple turns ago and knew what was going to happen. Alright, so we get the... I love how Dozer pukes on things. Burps on them, I guess, and then pukes. But we get the lockdown on the Smother Mother. It doesn't really matter, because the Smother Mother still has the pull. And we're just going to see the elimination of... Yep, there's the pull. And down goes Dozer. That's what, like 14 keys? Is Dozer 8 or 9? We knew what the outcome was coming... Oh, and by the way, Aqua has some more keys to spare. We knew what the outcome was coming in, but... Poof. Was there something Ryuchi could have done? I mean, Ryuchi's better than I am. So, I think the main thing is this turn. The main thing that stands out to me was like this turn. You know your opponent's banking. You have committed all 5 phobies to the boards. You need to free up a phobie slot in order to react to them. If they don't kill your phobie, you get free hits and you've claimed all 3 points. Plus, you're putting way more pressure on your opponent than the 235 that you're doing now. So I think the answer is send in Cat or Bachelor and stand it on this point so that way you can react to... Well, this was Aqua's turn. So it would have been this turn. Like, on this turn, send one of the 1 keys in and cap this point because you're locked out of reacting in any other way, and your opponent's not. So while they were taking damage, they weren't taking a ton. So this means that the answer... Like, So this turn, Aqua summons Smother Mother. What stress level is Aqua? It's 76, I think. So, like, look, I could just be spitting nonsense here because, like we said, I think Ryuchi's 47 stress level. Something like that. It's 40-something, I think. And then it's level 76, so, like, it's a huge difference. We saw that on all of this stuff. Like, the Bachelor has almost 700 health. Give me a break. Like, and then we saw, like, level 19 Jar and level 12 Murder Wing, and this was a level 19 Smother Mother. Maybe at the end of the day... Oh, 49 for Ryuchi? Okay. Maybe at the end of the day, there was nothing Ryuchi could have done. I think that the mistake of not being able to react this turn... So they have 11 keys. Maybe they don't bring out Dozer, and they would wait for Dozer and Cerberus, just like they did before. But one of them could have been online this turn. Like, the Dozer's here, behind the Bowmangles. Like, you retreat everything, you Dozer, then you freeze this thing, or lock it down. Would that have made a difference? I don't know. They still get the pull, because you stepped into range. They get the pull, they get to hit it, they get to light it up with everything. Maybe it didn't matter. Realistically, maybe it just came down to levels. But I'm not sure. That's the only thing that I saw that stood out to me as, well, maybe this is something that you should have done. He could do something if he used different phobies. I don't think any of the phobies that Ryuchi summoned were incorrect. Now, at the end, you could make the argument that the Dozer and Cerberus combination was not correct, but I understand the logic of it. What level is Ryuchi stuff? Not as high. Not nearly as high. Like, this is a level 8. This is a level 10. This is a level 10. This is a level 8. And then we're talking about, like, 19, 19, 15, 12. Like, the levels are way on Aqua's side. Like, way on Aqua's side. But the thing is that the Cerberus makes sense because of the huge damage output. You're fighting a phobie that you can't... There aren't enough remaining keys to try and, like, chip it down over the course of a number of turns. You're just not going to have time because the Smother Mother, because of the pull and the damage, will pick you apart. So you have to push a bunch of damage right away. So I respect the Cerberus. The Dozer here... Yeah, so the Dozer and Cerberus were split across 2 turns anyway. I think they needed the Dozer sooner, but even if this... So, if the Dozer was already in position, it could have moved up and froze this last turn. It would have gotten pulled to here. So it would have been, like, almost 700. Plus another 6 is 13. 19. 29, 31. Yeah, the Dozer would have died, so I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think it would have mattered getting the Dozer sooner. He could have killed Smother with Moffat, Pole, Dozer, Clown, and Casso. Assuming that Aqua cooperates, yes. Assuming that Aqua cooperates. Because we have to imagine that if the spider came out, that Mother damage is something else. Yeah, it's really high. Cerberus gets this high, but Smother Mother has really high damage output. I have to assume that Aqua would have backed off, and now because they control the panic points, they have time. Obviously, this particular line didn't work out, so clearly something different had to have happened, but if they back up, and they go... Like, maybe the answer is Cerberus Moffat, not the Dozer? There's just no way to get Dozer to connect without it getting yoinked by the Smother Mother and then immediately dying. There's way too much damage on this side. As soon as you step into range, you're dead. I mean, we saw that with the Cerberus. The Cerberus comes in on next turn, or this turn. This Cerberus goes down in one turn, and it has 3,600 health. So, a yoink as opposed to the freeze, I like the idea of a pull. Obviously, we know Ryuchi's high enough level to stress level to have access to Moffat. I don't know what else they have. How else could you have done that? Like, I don't think you can outlast this setup from Aqua. I don't think you can play the slow game and be like, oh, well, I'll get a jar and ship it down and then poke it here and poke it there. Like, that's not going to work. Yeah, the Cerberus didn't work out, but I understand the logic behind it. I understand the logic behind it because this is so high health, the damage output is necessary. Now, it could also be Ryuchi said, I'm not winning this game, I'm going to meme, I'm going to go Dozer and Cerberus. Like, we don't know what was going on in their head. But assuming the Cerberus lived, you know, you go in, you freeze, or you lock it down with the Dozer, you get the Cerberus to connect, you can probably kill this by invading. But the problem is I really do feel like not controlling the points and playing more aggressively early on led to this end state. This is a situation where Brony could flip the table. Brony would actually be really strong here. You put a Brony, because Brony could invade. Can Brony do its ability immediately? I don't think so. So you'd have to play it a little defensively. But yeah, Brony's ability can bend around corners. So they would have to back off a lot. I like the Brony. Or the Brony as an idea. Checking chat real quick. Dozer was good, but then Cerberus. Too many wasted keys. Like I said, I could see the logic, but yeah, it obviously didn't work out. Played the wrong Dozer. If you could use something that debuff damage debuff, he's still doing like 900. Yeah, I don't think the damage debuff on the Smother Mother would have mattered, really. I mean, Boo Fairy would have put it at like still 600 or so, depending on, assuming Ryuchi even has it. But yeah, this is interesting. Brony is a decent answer to this, I guess, but we don't know if Ryuchi has access to it or felt that would have been appropriate. I don't know. Without knowing Ryuchi's full collection, it's tough to say. But I would lean on the game was actually lost between turns 6 and 11. Maybe 7. So, like, I don't know about this Bo Mangles. The issue here is that a lot... Like, yes, you can secure this point, but again, 5 Phobies. You're not pressuring a lot, like, you don't have all 3 points, so your opponent has time. So they could sit and bank. If you don't push them to do something, they're just going to bank and then go over the top of you because you're locked in place. They'll get the initiative to try and start that snowball. And especially against a higher stress level player like this, where, you know, all of their stuff is low to mid-teens or higher. it's scary to let them bank. And back, does my heart good to be known for punching hearts? Oh my god, we should be looking at Aqua. Someone beat that mother? Okay, well, I was going to close up shop, but we'll take a look at that game, DT. Just checking chat real quick. For sure, but still too high to ignore him. Not sure how to counter, to be honest. Maybe crush more wall, pressure the lobs, force Smother Mother to come to you. The problem is Smother Mother has a burrow move. I don't know if you saw that, Rox, because I didn't call that out. But Smother Mother also... Whoop, we can pause it here. Smother Mother also has a burrow. Now, a lob or a wall would obviously separate the rest of their forces, so you could isolate the Smother Mother. But the mobility on it and, like, the amount of damage you have to do, it's... I mean, let's just face it, it's tough to do 3,000 damage in a turn. Just freeze it easy. I mean, that, honestly, Rocket Man. Yeah, Rocket Man, Moscow, you're right. Luffy's right. Just Rocket Man, it's that simple. You know about the Burrow Fair. Yeah, alright, let's take a look at another game. Let's take a look at another game. I'm saying force some other mother to force you solo. I hear you. I hear you. I don't know if that... how well that would work out. I mean, it obviously didn't work out this way. There's a few things that have to come into play for that to happen. And honestly, given the damage output, especially just the Smother Mother alone, you could just attack the statue, blow it up, and then, okay, we're back to square one. To deal with the boss before I froze it, then sheeped it, and then just ran. That's what I'm talking about, Luffy. Get that freezing boss action. Alright, so what was the game, DT? It's gotta be this one, right? Alright, so we're gonna take a look at this. This will probably be the last game, last thing for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with more Phobies action, barring catastrophe. But gonna be probably the last thing for tonight. Let's take a look at this. So we're looking at some higher level games, higher rank games to see what's going on at those high ranks. So we're zoning in on Lights Out, which is no longer in the pool. I believe that guy is mad. Here, was the victor in the last game that we just broke down, and this time they are opening with a Gravedigger. Now, our orange player is opening up with a multitude of Phobies, a Gesundheit, a Sargassum, which ends up, this is interesting. So the Sargassum immediately stands on the lava, and I'm not really sure why. I'm very curious, like... 1, 2... You could be where Contortio is and get either of these points. So, like, I don't know why this spider is here. Unless it was specifically to threaten the Gravedigger? Because was the Gravedigger in range? No, the Gravedigger's not in range. I have no idea why the spider is here. But, spider on the lava. When people say kill it with fire when they're talking about spiders, you can't quite kill it with fire because it lived through this lava hit. But, we get a jar follow-up. The spider's not going to be long for the world. We get a couple hits on, or a couple panic points to get hits on the blue heart, and we get a spud follow-up. So we're still staying low-key count. We know, based on the MVPs, that some of these are going to show up, like what's going to show up. To prevent Gravedigger from capping down, I guess? But, like... You could have... Could you have... Yeah, you could have only moved there. Yeah, that's valid, I guess. So, if we... Just because I want to point this out. Since I was misunderstood. We gotta go back another turn. So, we spawn these. So, Gravedigger can obviously run down here or take this point. The spider... ending up in this position does mean that they can't go down here because it'll be poison. That's fair. That's fair. How much is this poison? It would tank the poison, right? 6, 9, 10. It would tank the poison, but it would obviously be severely weakened. I guess. I mean, you're expecting this thing... So, in further defense of that, you expect that your one key that's going to cap these points is going to die. So it's not going to die to the lava, so that damage doesn't matter. So you might as well threaten something else with it. Spider was possibly to bait the Gravedigger to kill the spider. That's also true, because I was about to say that. But the Gesundheit follow-up means that you would have... And the Contortio also, I don't think your opponent comes in. I think they know they're going to either lose the Gravedigger to a follow-up jar or Spud here or something like that. I think it was to prevent the cap here. And like I said, this is going to die anyway, so as long as the spider threatens something, it at least gives you flexibility doing it that way. So it seems weird, but it makes sense. Continuing with the low key cost, we're getting Cassowary and a Cassowary and Bachelor, but the Bachelor is going to go down. Spud will snipe it. Do we get the Contortio to take it? Yeah, the Contortio is going to go up. Reclaim the point. Obviously, Gesundheit comes back because there were a number of ways that it would have died, and then a Murder Wing to follow up, get some more mobility. So, the Contortio is in range of the jar, meaning that this can happen. The question is, does Aqua want to sack the Cassowary? They do not, and I can't really blame them, so they're allowing the points here, and they're banking. So I think this is where the Beauty is going to start, or Beauty, Smother Mother is going to come online. So in return, compared to the last game that we looked at, our orange player is not locked in on Phobies. They only have 3. They have the same panic point ratio that we saw in the previous game, but the ability to follow up is going to be important here. Obviously, they're at 6. Oh my god, fighting Fire Ant for the first time. It's lighting my entire army on fire every 2 turns. Fire Ant is real good. Fire Ant is real good. About 6 Dreadful, only got 1 Ultra Rare? Ouch. So we see, getting back to the game, we see the Klepto follow-up here, which puts our orange player in a hole as far as keys go, because Aqua was banking for the Smother Mother. Now, it's not a too dissimilar of a position from last game. The Gravedigger had broken this so that there's more mobility on the blue player's side. But we're going to get probably a mass retreat here, regroup, and then the difference here is that the positioning from our orange player allows them to threaten more stuff, and there are obstacles here, so the pull is not nearly as effective. The pull on Lights Out, because of the positioning in the Smother Mother, meant that there was just no reasonable approach path. Here, the opposite is somewhat true. There's still plenty of keys left for our orange player, although there were in the other game, because there were 14 that we saw spawned. Meaning that you could send in more 1 cost to try and fight for these spots. You have more time to try and chip this down. Plus, if the Smother Mother ever approaches, you do have some lobs. I feel much better about Orange's position here, especially since they can actually respond if they wanted to. Now, that being said, because you have the period of time you're going to have to wait to accumulate a bunch of keys to get something big, it may not actually be that different than having to wait a turn to have one of your Phobies killed off. So. Oh yeah, Scritch is a ultra rare. I forgot about that. So let's see here. What do we got? So we see the Great Retreat, as expected. I was called out for having less than 100 games, but over 60 Phobies. Nice, Lufee. So the follow-up from Aqua is just cap the point. Makes sense. They're down to 5 keys. There's 9 remaining for our orange player. I'm not sure what they're waiting on in order to try and answer this, but clearly Klepto is going to pick off the little guys here. What do they actually do to this Smother Mother? Alright, that Spud is dead. Okay. For everybody who's wondering how Miss Moffat would have worked out in the last game, we may be about to find out. Now, I don't think... I know I keep pausing and unpausing. So, let's assume the Spud gets pulled and gets killed. We get a 558 from Jar. We'll get a reposition from the Klepto. So, that's 1,000 and change. plus the 300 from this, 13, plus this, so 19. So it's not enough to, and then a hit from the lava, so 21. It's not enough to kill the Smother Mother in one volley, but it does put a bunch of damage on it. So we actually see a retreat from the Smother Mother. That makes sense to me, and then we get a Noxious follow-up. Like, this is kind of logical if I'm Aqua, because the orange player has to commit in. And they still have keys remaining after the Noxious, so you need to try and pick something off. And as long as you don't let the Smother Mother get hit by multiple hits from the same Phobies, aka you get too close, you should be fine. So passing turn here makes sense. Alright, looks like the jar goes down. So that's pretty rough. That is a significant mistake, because like that jar did not have to die. Now maybe Aqua's telling themselves, well, they're never going to come in. But obviously they will. And now because you're out of keys, you're going to have to sacrifice something to reclaim these points, thanks to the Klepto. So I think if I'm going to try and predict the future, it's just picking apart the rest of the team, because obviously you don't have a ton of damage remaining as the orange player in order to burn down the Smother Mother. Alright, so Cassowary repositions. I'm not real sure why this Noxious is where it is. So we get the pull on the Noxious. I assume this is enough damage. You know, you commit the cowbell onto the lava. The Gesundheit's gonna... Oh, you get it with the jar. Fair. I guess there wasn't quite enough damage, but yeah, you invest everything, down goes Noxious, and all of a sudden, Smother Mother has a lot of health, does a lot of damage, but this is a lot of different Phobies. So it actually commits thanks to the pole being down, or I'm assuming thanks to the pole being down. But now Aqua doesn't really... Even if you pull, there's not a lot you can do. There's not a lot you can do to actually capitalize on it. Like, if you have to move in and pull, you're just doing 600 damage. You're not necessarily doing much else. AoE from Klepto takes this down. We only have a few more turns to this game, but you can kind of see where the writing on the wall is going. I mean, this is not a great pause either. The Smother Mother getting poisoned by the spider is also pretty big. There's no more keys for a heal. So we get the pull, we get the elimination, but it's absolutely a race here. And a race that I don't know... I mean, we know that Aqua can't win it because we know how it ends. But now we have poison on both of them, and the Miss Moffat poison is not a joke. This is almost 500 damage a turn. Like, that's a sheep hit, basically. And we actually... There's a bunch of damage on Blue's heart. Although that's... I doubt that's how this game is going to end. Smother Mother dives, but the problem is this thing... It's down 666 health. How about that number? You're not going to be able to kill everything, so that's how this goes. What level is that Miss Moffat? I'll have to go back. I mean, there's not much else to see. This is a level 9 Miss Moffat. But Miss Moffat's poison gets up there very quickly. I mean, level 9 is not that high. Especially when we're talking about, like, level 19 Smother Mothers and stuff like that. Yeah, it is possible to beat the high level. So the difference here compared to the game... We're just going to pause it. The difference compared to the other game is I think our orange player here had the ability to actually stall out the Smother Mother. I don't feel that... Because they were able to back off. And it would have taken 2 moves to cross the map. Because remember, like, however many turns ago, this Smother Mother... Like, we're trying to go back to, like, when it first appeared. Obviously, the jar play was kind of the beginning and the end. But, like, back here, you have this line of Phobies. there's no way the Smother Mother can get to anything and pull. As compared to the last game on Lights Out, the Smother Mother being in the center, interacting with the points, it just moves once and it yoinks anything. Like, there's no way you can set up. This way, our orange player had time to work around and do things, but they also took some important actions. Namely, they were able to just pick apart the team and isolated the Smother Mother. So in this particular case, like, they do this, and then our blue player, I think, just passes turn here. Yeah, they just straight up pass turn here. Now, I don't know how much thinking they were doing, but it's entirely possible that they said, well, my stuff is safe. You can't kill it. Or they just miscounted, but this jar didn't need to die. Poison OP confirmed? Yep. Like, this jar did not have to die. Yes, there's a bunch of stuff that's going to go down in retaliation, but this is, you know, pick apart the team. They have no other keys left. And the Smother Mother can't be everywhere at once. And eventually, the blue player had to make, like, they had to do stuff. They're out of keys and you have no heal spot. It's true. It's true. That is a good scenario for the poison player, I will say. Giga Chad Jar single-handedly taking down Smother Mother. Yeah, Jar's just like, this is a joke. Get out of my house. But yeah, this is a pretty cool example. This is a pretty cool highlight to look at. If you're seeing high-level stuff that you're going up against, you see big, scary stuff. Either it's high rank, like a leveled up phobie, or it's just a high key phobie. You know, the 8s, the 9s, that sort of thing. But there are a lot of ways that you can strategically beat those things. It's hard, don't get me wrong, and obviously it's an advantage, or otherwise it wouldn't matter. But it is not impossible to beat. So shout out to DT for finding this game, because this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. But we know how that one ends. As always, everybody, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and Black Lives Matter.